Danful offers unparalleled, curated, and bespoke tours across Africa for travelers seeking genuine cultural experiences, enriched with magnificent sights, sounds, and flavors found on the continent. Each trip is reliably curated to ensure visitors are gifted with an immersive and authentic adventure. Whether you find yourself strolling along the charming white sand beaches of Sierra Leone, feasting on the mouth-watering delicious foods in Senegal, observing or partaking in various aspects of the Isheshi traditional system Ifa native to Yoruba land, Nigeria, with Danful, you will rediscover a fulfilling sense of kinship to the true heart of the motherland, her communities. Our core values focus on integrity, quality, safety, and sustainability. We are uniquely committed to assisting with the advancement of African infrastructure and promoting African businesses, so both travelers and the communities they visit receive beneficial exchanges. At Danful, we understand the importance of connectivity, and we have created a model which provides bespoke experiences based on your passions or hobbies. With us, expect a long-lasting spiritual bond between you and your destinations. Live, love, Danful, Africa. To learn more, visit danful.africa.
Peace, family. We are live again. Dynasty Mirror Search for Huru. Thank you all. Thank you so much for joining. Hit that like button again. Please hit that like button. Also, make sure you share and make sure you subscribe. Let's see what we got going. If you have about the documentary, guys, there's 15 of you guys right now who are watching. All right. If you have not bought the documentary, I need you right now. Okay. I need you right now to go to documentary.searchforhuru.com and buy the documentary. Again, go to documentary.searchforhuru.com and buy the documentary. I will greatly appreciate it. I need all hands on deck when it comes to my documentary, you guys. Again, I need all hands on deck. All right, go to documentary.searchforhuru.com and buy the documentary. All right, I will greatly appreciate it. Really, really love your guys' support. Again, I really love your guys' support. So go and buy the doc. Buy the doc. Also, we're actually going to Nigeria Saturday, September 20th to the 29th. We go to Zanzibar. September 30th to October 8th is Kenya. November 8th through the 19th is Ghana and Ivory Coast. Then November 20th through the 29th is Sierra Leone. And then we're rolling to Benin in January for the Voodoo Festival. That's January 4th to the 13th. So if you're interested in joining, please visit Danful.Africa. Again, please visit Danful.Africa if you're interested in joining. So those are your action items. Buy the documentary and come on a tour with us. Like after you buy the documentary and watch the documentary, it should move you to want to travel to Africa, you guys. Yeah, so that's what we're doing, y'all. That's what we're doing. That is what we're doing. Yeah. Guys, 1 second. Sending a message out real quick. Oh, yeah. Okay, that was it. So today's topic, the term is buffer class. All right. And so if you guys don't know, we'll start with colonialism. All right. So when the Europeans came to Africa, colonized Africa, they didn't want to do business directly with Africans, right? So they brought in other groups of people that were used as buffer classes or used as a buffer class, which they would serve as the middlemen between Europeans and Africans. In East Africa, throughout South Africa, it was the Indians. West Africa, you have Lebanese. Now let's go to the United States of America. In fact, if you watch Ryan Coogler's movie, not Vampires, what was it? Sinners. There we go. It took place in the Mississippi Delta. And remember the scene where the two twins, was it Smoke and I forgot their name. The two twins, they had one of the twins shot somebody, and they were at like this Chinese general store. So the Chinese were used as a buffer class in the Deep South. So again, white folks didn't want to do business with black people directly, so they had these buffer classes, or even to the point where black people really couldn't get the goods and services, or couldn't really offer the services that were needed, because again, our products, whatever you want to call it, because white people didn't want to distribute it to them. So they used the Chinese, and they served as a buffer. That's why, when Ryan Coogler was a great actor, but the way he portrayed the Chinese in Sinners, he kind of romanticized them a little bit, because they were definitely a buffer class, and they didn't want to integrate with black folks at all. So yeah, that's why when we get into this, and this is kind of off topic, when we talk about the civil rights movement, like these other minority groups who black folks bled, I guess, for rights, they didn't want anything to do with black people. Again, these other groups, when they came to America, they wanted nothing to do with black people. That's why when we get to civil rights and minority, group this minorities, it's very interesting. So now you have the West Coast. The primary buffer class of the West Coast is Hispanics. So now you have black immigrants from, and then of course you had Italians, you had Germans, you had the Polish, of course, Jews. You had all these groups that served as a buffer class. With FBA, the way they are towards black immigrants, I don't understand, because black immigrants are not a buffer class, nowhere near a buffer class. They're not a buffer class. That's why I don't get or understand the vitriol versus black immigrants. That's where I get confused. Like, why are you so upset at black immigrants? Like, they're not a buffer class. For the most part, like, let's deal with Little Senegal in Harlem. They got their own community. They pretty much sell and do business within their own community. They don't bother anybody. That's why I just don't understand why black folks, black Americans feel so threatened by black immigrants. Like, it's completely petty. Somebody says they're way more dangerous than a buffer class. Oh, Lord Jesus. But that being said, I'm going to put the link in the chat room. I completely disagree. I think there are other minority groups that black Americans should have smoke for than black immigrants. Yeah, Ethiopians have their own communities, which I heard, like, if anybody lives in LA, well, it was always kind of gentrified anyway, but I heard it's completely almost gone now, Little Ethiopia. But these communities, there's never been a black immigrant buffer class in America. There's never been one. So why FBA, why they have so much smoke for black immigrants? I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. They're not sabotaging anything. They're not trying to take your reparations. So it doesn't make sense why there's such vitriol towards black immigrants. They can infiltrate, cosplay, and undermine us politically like Obama and Kamala. Okay, let's address that. The majority of black Americans, FBA, when they vote Democrat. So that's why when it comes to this black caucus argument and Obama and Kamala Harris argument, it's such a dumb argument because the majority of black Americans, FBA, so-called, whenever they go to the polls, they are voting Democrat. So that's just such a petty argument. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense at all. That's just a tired argument. In fact, let me play my favorite video by Kamala Harris. Let me pull this up real quick. Hold on. Let's see here. Here we go. My favorite video.
At a 5-star resort, but you're embarrassed to take your shirt off at the pool. I'll fix this problem forever so you'll never feel.
Do you support reparations for Black people?
Well, listen, again, we had over 200 years of slavery. We had Jim Crow for almost a century. We had legalized discrimination and segregation, and now we have segregation and discrimination that is not legal but still exists and is a barrier to progress. We have disparities around housing. We have disparities around education. We have disparities around income. And we have to recognize that everybody did not start out on an equal footing in this country. And in particular, Black people have not. And so we have got to recognize that and do something about that and give folks a lift up. That's why, for example, I'm proposing the LIFT Act. Give people who are making $100,000 or less as a family a tax credit, which will benefit and uplift 60% of Black families who are in poverty.
So by default, it affects Black families, but there's not a particular policy for African Americans that you would explore.
But no, if you look at the reality of who will benefit from certain policies, when you take into account that they're not starting at the same place and they're not starting on equal footing, it will directly benefit Black children, Black families, Black homeowners, because the disparities are so significant. So if we focus on the specific issues that have resulted in the greatest disparities, and we understand that that's part of why we're doing it. Listen,
here we go. Obama and Kamala, two of the biggest tethers. But who voted for them? Who voted for them? It was Black Americans, FBA, who put them in office. It was Black, and when it came to Kamala, it was Black Americans, FBA, who were shouting down people, shaming people. Oh, you just don't want a Black woman to be president. I was hearing that from Black Americans. So we voted for them. So they're so-called two tethers. We put them in office or put them in position to be in office. So don't get mad at her or Obama.
Reality also is this: any policy that will benefit Black people will benefit all of society. Let's be clear about that. Let's really be clear about that. So I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to do something that's only going to benefit Black people. No, because whatever.
Again, even after this, Black Americans who will be considered FBA went and voted for. So I don't want to hear it. Like I don't want to hear it. We were fooled by Pan-Africanism and flat blackness. They woke us up. Okay, well, we'll see how that plays out. But guys, links in the chat room. If you want to call in, please click on the link and call in. Also, documentary is currently streaming. Oh, I can't spell. Hold on. I'll put documentary with two N's. There we go. Okay, that's better. All right, please visit documentary.searchforhuru.com, documentary.searchforhuru.com. Stream the documentary. I would greatly appreciate it. Watch the trailer. Everybody who's watching this, go and watch the trailer. And if it moves you to buy the documentary, go ahead and buy it. It's streaming. Once you pay the $10.99, it is yours forever. It is yours forever. So go to documentary.searchforhuru.com and buy the documentary. Okay. That is Black Americans are waking up. The days or these type of Black people being elected is over. We'll see. We'll see whatever that means. I guess whatever that means. But guys, links in the chat room. If you want to call in after the conversation, you are more than welcome to call in and add to the convo. We're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back.
Danful offers unparalleled, curated and bespoke tours across Africa for travelers seeking genuine cultural experiences, enriched with magnificent sights, sounds and flavors found on the continent. Each trip is reliably curated to ensure visitors are gifted with an immersive and authentic adventure. Whether you find yourself strolling along the charming white sand beaches of Sierra Leone, feasting on the mouth-watering delicious foods in Senegal, observing or partaking in various aspects of the Isheshi traditional system Ifa native to Yoruba land, Nigeria, with Danful, you will rediscover a fulfilling sense of kinship to the true heart of the motherland, her communities. Our core values focus on integrity, quality, safety, and sustainability. We are uniquely committed to assisting with the advancement of African infrastructure and promoting African businesses, so both travelers and the communities they visit receive beneficial exchanges. At Danful, we understand the importance of connectivity, and we have created a model which provides bespoke experiences based on your passions or hobbies. With us, expect a long-lasting spiritual bond between you and your destinations. Live, love, Danful, Africa. To learn more, visit danful.africa.
All right, someone's asking, are you FBA though? I do not identify as FBA. I am Black American, but I don't identify as FBA. FBA has turned into we are the Black Indians. We are the original Black Indians movement. It's slowly devolved because of their hatred of Africa into we ain't African. We the original Cherokee and Navajo movement. So I do not identify as FBA. I am Black American. We aren't the same. my lineage that I came from, they've never identified as Indian. No, they never identified as an Indian. No, my parents are not immigrants. Again, I am Black American. Okay, but I don't identify as an indigenous Aboriginal Choctaw like a lot of so-called FBA starting to do. They're starting to shift to that. So, yeah, I'm good. I'm good. It's a lot of misinformation. Um, again, it's a lot of misinformation now throughout in FBA. And the thing is, like you guys are more closer to relating to Irish than you are anything Indian. You're more English than you are anything Native American. Like, why don't you guys claim the Native American and why don't you guys claim the Irish and English side? That's the part, that I don't understand. Yeah, but FBA is all over the place. You know, I guess Tariq Nasheed meant well. You know, you are a great example of a Black African American. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank you. Well, yeah, you guys are moving. Nobody said all Black people are the same across the world. Like I have no problem. Like if you want to if you want to delineate, that's fine. Again, where I disagree is now y'all delineating to the point where you're saying I have nothing to do with Africa. I'm not African. I'm a here we go. See, here we go. I knew it. You will find American Indians or Europeans before you find in African in your family tree. There we go. See that there we go. Just prove me right. Yeah, yeah. In fact, that's a show. FBA are cosplaying as Native Americans. In fact, that's a show. We're gonna do that tomorrow. We're gonna do that tomorrow. We'll do that tomorrow. Go ahead, Africa.
Yeah, greetings to you all, Dennis, the panel and the chats. Obviously, I'm the first one on board. I mean, listen to to the show last night, how, it ended. It just showed exactly the problem of Black people generally. I mean, for someone that always advocates that, I think African Americans should have their own ethnicity, you know, and then you have other people calling in, it's like the problem with this FBA movement is becoming it's either becoming a hate group, or is a group that been paid to become like a just a xenophobic bunch of people against Africans, and also African Americans who have some kind of vengeance against Black people because of the transatlantic slave trade. This is my observation. Okay, and it's one of them. It cannot be. You cannot take one of the three out. Either haven't forgiven Africans, for selling their ancestors, just as slaves, and also this also people that do not do not want to associate themselves with Africans because they think Africans are poor, and also they want to associate themselves with anything else other than being African. There's so many other factors, but I think also they've been paid or been pushed to come and actually, I don't think they have been paid. I think they have been brainwashed to feel like the way they do. They've been conditioned. There are different kind of conditions, we can develop as, it's like trauma. It's some form of trauma, but I'm not going to go into it. So African migrants are all over the world. This is the fact. They are in Europe, they are in America, they will be everywhere. Just People need to just get over that. You have no control over that. These countries that you call Americas and England, these countries were built by the British. They were built by British, and they the one that you know um, did what obviously people are crying of. They went and colonized Africa. They set up this trade route. They also set up these colonies, and eventually, we're here. We're all living together now. And we have been through this situation for centuries. Africans, some African have been victim of the colonization. Many African Americans have been victim of slavery. And also, as we speak, we know, they control most of the resources and the corporations that are actually holding the continent back. So, there's nothing you're gonna do about it. Africans will be in America, they will be in Europe. In fact, we're here in England, the belly of the beast, the people who created that place called America and Canada. You know what? There are a lot of black people here who've been here for like, generations. They are not claiming to be Indians. They are not claiming to be anything else. They're mixed race. They call themselves mixed race. They half black, half white. Some of them are black who got like different ancestors, from Europeans. That's it. Simple as that. It's about time Black Americans get over that Africans gonna be in America, whether you like it or not. However, I'm not going to listen to African. Uh, I'm not going to listen to Africans, demonizing Black Americans, trying to call them lazy or trying to put them down. I'm not going to agree with that. But I would definitely not going to allow African Americans being xenophobic towards Africans. Simple as that. It's wrong, totally wrong. We need to call it out. You are going after your own people. It's the same problem we had in the UK. I said this before. Finally, I'm actually starting to realize us, the so-called Black British in the UK, we're actually one step ahead of Black America. I can see why. And if we had 15% of the population as Black British, I guarantee you we're not going to be anywhere on our level. I'm telling you, we will be way, way ahead. We'll be leading the entire black world. For a small country as the UK is, if we had like even 10% of the population being black British, we will be leading the chat on all levels. Listen to the, some of the people and observing, what's going on in America, how, you're less resilient to things that's coming your way. It's unbelievable. But I'll pass the mic for now. But I think, there's a lot you can learn from us, man, in the UK. I'll pass the mic. Thank you.
All right,
I'll let
go
the
ahead,
sister speak.
Rokoya. No, you're
Oh, yeah.
you're not coming in clear at all. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, bad line.
Yeah, we can't hear you.
Okay. Dennis, also look in the UK, right? Kids tend to really do well in school. The Africans and the Asians kids, they are topping all the charts when it comes to, from primary school, to different academic level in the UK. I don't know why. It might be a cultural thing or it might be, a social factor, but it is like that. But listen to the statistics, I was actually following the statistics also. If you look at the jobs that people are saying and the benefit that the so-called African are taking in America, they actually are not taking it from Black Americans. They are actually taking it from the white Americans. So I don't know what the beef is about towards Africans in the US. I don't really get it. We had the same problem here in the UK, but we managed to fix it. When I came to the UK as a young boy running away from the war, I went to school. We listen. I'm not. We used to get targeted being African in the UK. There are kids that used to wait for African kids outside school just before they go home. Some of them will get stabbed. Some of them will get jumped. Some of them will get like injuries. Some of them will get bullied. Get all kind of name. People call us all kind of names, even in the nightclubs, even when we go out in the streets. I was more safer being around white people than being around my own African Caribbean brothers and sisters. And you be out with your nice partner. They be like, see the Caribbean boys will be like going to tell the guy, what are you doing with the African guy? You could do better than the African guy. Come with me. This is the sort of stuff Africans were facing in the UK, big time, man. It was actually so. Um, it was so. It was so terrible. But that all went away because Africans and Caribbean realized we only got our own people, to work with. You cannot keep going after your own. You know, you cannot keep going after your own African brothers
Okay,
while
Africa, let me,
you
let
let
me,
the
let me.
others
We got, we
slide.
got a new, we got a new call. Let me pass the mic.
Yeah,
Africa,
that's it.
go ahead and mute yourself.
And
Go ahead,
Africa,
Africa.
Africa, great African. I mean,
Hey, Titus, thanks for letting me in.
Oh, no
Um,
problem.
yeah, so I'm gonna try to keep it clean and So here's the thing. Um, I'm an African immigrant, um, but moved to Milwaukee at the age of 12. So I have Black American sensibilities because basically, um, when I came here, when I went out to play, it was a transitional neighborhood where there was white flight. So everybody that I went out to play with was African American or Black Americans or whatever you want to call it, FBA. Um, so I had periods of adjustments to understand, I was different. And I can tell you that for a while, I fought almost every other day based on, the old African booty scratcher. And coming from Africa, coming from Liberia, I drew a line in the sand. I'm like, look, say that again. And then, so I dealt with it in a violent way. And so I went from being called African booty scratcher to African warrior, kind of like the ultimate warrior. Um, so, and I was clueless. I was on a bus stop one day and a bunch of boys ran up on me. Hey, who you riding with? Who you riding with? I was like, man, I'm with the 76 bus. So I wasn't culturally aware of what it means to be riding with something. It was obviously now gangs, but they just laughed at me because I didn't know what they were talking about. They were like, "Oh, that's just some African dude." Okay, so a couple of things that I want to look at here. One, when we talk about foundational Black Americans, um, really what you're talking about is Africans, because there's no Black American without African. So the first Africans that came here, that came in chains, did not know how to speak English. They didn't know. They wanted to go back home. A lot of traditions that we have here, like the Igbos, um, some of them drowned themselves because they felt that their soul would go back to Africa. Okay. So when they say foundational Black America, it's just a thing to separate. It's like when things happen and we need numbers, then we're all Black. Okay. But when it's an issue of resources, then we have the separation of, okay, we the real Black people here. Y'all just some foreigners. So y'all taking benefits from us. And while I admire the spirit of resiliency of Black Americans in terms of civil rights movement, we have to also understand that the immigrants that were here were also part of the civil rights movements. Um, Marcus Garvey, like Malcolm X's father, was a follower of Garvey. Garvey was a Jamaican. Even Farrakhan has Caribbean roots. Um, so it's like once we came here, I've been driving while Black for damn near 40 years. So my experience is no different than anybody else when it comes to racism. there's no special place that says you are African, so therefore we're going to be less racist to you because we don't like Black Americans. And when they look at me, I'm maybe a little bit darker, mostly darker, but there's a lot of people that's dark as me too. So we're all, even if you're light skinned, they don't see the difference. So I've experienced everything. I've experienced being pulled over. I've experienced uh, all of the indignations that a Black person in this country can go through. So to say and separate me and my experiences because I was born in a different country doesn't make sense to me. Okay. When I was in college, we were all Black people. We had a Black student union. And when things went down, we came together and we did what we had to do. We protest. We did all of those things. It wasn't like, oh, okay, the Africans, yeah, y'all can just go over on this side, you know? So there were Africans. So it's like there were Africans who weren't culturally in tune with Black America because they came as 18 and 19-year-olds. Okay. But I've been in a situation where I'm just in between both. I'm very, very, very African and I'm very, very, very American. When I go to Africa, I'm the American. When I'm in America, I'm the African based on my name and appearance and all of those things. So I think we just have to, as a people in this day and age, just focus on doing things that are positive, doing things that we can hustle within this economy. And, you know, if you're talking about reparations, wonderful. I don't want reparations. I got my reparations is going to come from Africa, but it's not going to happen. You get reparations when you win a war. So right now it's an economic war, and we're losing miserably. Our children are failing in schools. Okay, when you look at the reports, our children, Black children, score lower than other students with learning disability. Okay. We need to make sure that all of our children, by the time that they're 5 years old, know how to read before they even step into kindergarten. So they have a confidence to learn what they have to learn to survive in this economy. So I'm just going to leave it at that. Let's step out.
All right. Go ahead, Rokoya.
Okay, is it much better now?
Well, like you're fighting your mic. Are you there?
I'm right here.
Are you like wrestling the mic? Like it's like you're rubbing your mic or your device? Like
No, you had me on mute, so I was trying to get myself back on.
Okay, go ahead. You hear you. Go ahead.
All right. Well, greetings everyone, and I like what the gentleman who spoke right now, what he said. I can relate to that a lot myself. But you know what? Sometimes when I come on these shows and I listen into the conversation, it really, really, I know it makes me really sad because I'll tell you what, it seems to me that this conversation, which started online, has become an, an I think it has become an enabling environment for many people who have their own sense of low esteem. Some people have real grievances against others. Some people just want to come here and talk about what they know and be armchair experts on whatever, whatever. But sadly, the algorithm doesn't help much because then it sort of moves all these negative, self-defeating speakers and all that onto these platforms to talk and get everybody riled up. I'll tell you my reality, and I've said that to you privately, is that more and more and more people who are African American, who have access to information, who have access to knowledge, and are smart, who understand the economic system that predominates this world and how power follows the economy, are not making the moves that are being spoken of here. In fact, I'm here in Palo Alto today. I had a meeting with an African American couple, and I'm not going to name names. I just want to give you something real and practical. This is a quote unquote, I would say, an FBA or ADOS family. A couple, they're about 70, The lady is about 68. This has been the first time that they went to Africa. They happened to go on one of these trips with Jay Cameron to Ghana. And they came back, they met some, influential people and what have you. And they came back and they really, really had an eye opening. They understood something that for 70 years they didn't understand. First of all, there's always that awareness. I don't know about the spiritual connection, but at least they understood what. And these are old retired people. And I was introduced to them because they say, how can we create a legacy on the continent?
Corey, are you like bumping your mic or your phone or
Yeah.
your device? Because like it's like you gotta like keep it still.
Okay,
Mm.
sorry. It's on the table. All right. So what's happening is this couple are trying to find at 70 years old, living in Palo Alto, California, trying to find a way in which they can build a legacy for their progeny on the continent, because they're understood that whatever the play out is, it's going to be played out further, like the cycle closes. And so when I hear things like that, and I hear people who have the opportunity, they're virile, they're strong, they're men, whatever, people, women, and they are poo-pooing something that's going to lead to all of us. All of us are salvation. I'll tell you what, without a strong Africa, I don't care whether you're in Caribbean or you're in UK Black or you're African American, until Africa becomes strong, like how China turned everything around and became a force to reckon with, we will all just be going around and taking crumbs off the table of the. I hope people who are smart know that the African is not your enemy. Africans come here and they have bad experiences. I have had them too, because when I came here, I was just fresh into college. I've been told all kinds of things, and I've also been shown kindness by African Americans. One or two said, "Look, you're one of mine," and they pulled me into their circle. So I've seen it from all sides. I've been in the ghetto. I've been with the Hyatt. I live in the Silicon Valley. I have my own business. I've seen it all. But the key thing is, look, we have to stop looking at each other as threats. We're not threats at all. If the African comes here, by the time he's had his first set of children, the children become sensitized as African American, even if the immigrant parent themselves lack the experience to be able to speak on your cases or on your behalf, because we all are results of our experiences. For many, 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 many months, when I came at first and so green, I couldn't tell when people were being racist to me. I thought they just didn't like me because I didn't have a personal understanding of racism. I'm like, hey, this white guy don't like me. This white woman was me. I don't give a damn, whatever. I'm still me and I'm going to get my stuff. You understand? So many Africans act out of ignorance, not because they're trying to be arrogant or whatever. It's just that we were not raised with the sensibility. So we may act a certain way. But over the years, when we understand it, we become more sensitized and we begin to relate to it, and our children relate to it. So all this talk about we being feathers and all that, who's threatening us to what? If we come in here and the white establishment sees us as non-threatening because we're not going to be up in arms, and I heard some gentleman on one of the social media stuff saying that we Africans are coming here and we take advantage of all the benefits and we align with white causes and all that. No, we align with what the power structure is, what our objectives are. But it's not. You can talk and chew gum and walk and run. We can do all these things. One is not mutually exclusive of the other, but we have to stop blaming each other. There is no blame to be given. Sometimes people talk about Africans who sold who. Okay, are you going to talk about the gangs who shot each other and killed your child when it's black on black? Things happen in history. I'm not excusing it. I think we Africans were really dumb, those who sold. My family has no history of selling anyone. In fact, we lost people. And many, many Africans are like that. It was powerful people. It was people who had access to resources, the rich, the same social element. Those who, the kings, the elites, they were the ones who could amass armies to go and attack other people. It's not the average African just grabbing people off the street. So we must understand that even in terms of slavery and what they keep accusing Africa of, that it was based on a structure. And the structure, African slavery, which existed for many, many years, was not one of chattel. It was one of an economic degradation of one's whole role or one's social positioning. Now, I know I talk a lot sometimes, and I don't want to keep on going on, but I want to say this, and I'll go back and listen to others, is that they're smart African Americans. They are smart ADOS, and they know that all this talk is just for show. At the end of the day, if they're gonna make it, they must cleave onto the African brotherhood or African sisterhood. We teach you, you teach us. We put together resources and we build, because whether we like it or not, Africa is going to be the next playground. Trust me. Thank you.
Go ahead, CD.
Hi, everybody. Hi, Africa, Dennis.
Yes, CD. Bless him,
Yeah,
brother.
guys, just support the channel, man. Let's contribute to the broader channel, okay? So it all come down to what I said previously is nothing about jealousy or hate for Africans, and that's the only thing that you can think of, right? These are the same group of people a few years back that you guys were calling booty scratchers, stupid. And now a few of them that in America, have started showing faces. And that's where, the hatred comes from. It's not about, oh, you guys saw us. People dying every day on the south side of Chicago, people shooting each other every day. So if it was about that, that should be our priority, to stop the firing and cease fire and start killing innocent people, right? It's not about selling oils or anything like that. It's just a hate, right? So, and you guys have to blame your previous president for that. It was Bill Clinton that, started bringing Africans over to do through visa lottery program. And also, if you see African businesses being opened, it was because of George Bush when he gave all that opportunity to get African products to come here to Coagoa, free duty, goods from Africa. So it's nothing about hate. And first of all, it's no way that these people can stop Africans anymore. That limit is over. It's no way that the more you push back on Africans, the more they will spark, right? I don't go for African American job, but I compete with white folks when it comes down in terms of job, right? And now, what are they doing right now? They're going to Britain and hire Black Britain to come here and play the movie roles, right? And now, what I'm hearing the FBA complaining about is about this Wakanda movie that they brought this Black British guy that playing a major role in the movie. But first of all, the movie name is Wakanda. It's an African movie, right? The guys there who work on this movie, the owners of the movie, are two Jewish guys from New York City. So this won't have nothing to do with FBA. If you think you are FBA, you don't have to identify yourself with Africa. The movie name is Wakanda. Why you want to fight about that? Right? If you want to fight for movie, go to Tally Berry or Ahmadiyya.
Oh, we lost CD, you guys. We lost CD.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead, Shah.
Okay, hopefully this connection will last a while. Greetings to the room. Greetings to Dinus.
Guys, hit the like button again. Please hit that like button. Links in the chat room if you want to call in, and also go by the documentary. Go support the documentary. Go ahead, Shah.
Okay, so yeah, I've been finding it hard to sign in. It's a stream, whatever this is, Yard Stream is asking me to do all these things that I never had to do before, and then I get in the room, and it lasts for a little while, and then it gets cut off. So I don't know what it is, but anyway, that's part of why I keep dropping out and coming back, and a lot of times in these spaces. So the brother who just finished spoken, I've heard his voice before, and I have to say that he says that it's about jealousy and hate, and I have to say, really on a lower vibration, yeah, there's some folks vibrating on those levels, but I would say it's really more about ignorance. It's about ignorance, and it's about it is low vibration, and it is a threat. It's about a threat to people who have nothing, who feel disenfranchised, who feel marginalized here in this country, and so you become somewhat of a threat to them. They don't know who you are because what their parents, the cycle of ignorance. And so we have to begin to educate our folks about each other, about our condition. And if we don't do that, we're going to go zero. And this was the goal when I was a young man of Black studies and people who were embracing Pan Africanism. They were we were reading, we were reading, and we were involved in the community. So I can see why you would say that, but it's not really that simple. And this whole movie thing with the young guy that's playing the part, I saw him actually in a role, and I was listening to you guys talk about it the other day, a couple of days ago, or yesterday, whatever it was. And I wanted to get in and talk, but I was listening for a while. But the just briefly, the young brother, I saw him in this role in this British movie, and he was brilliant. He was refreshing to me, and I think that he's going to surprise us. He's going to do a good job. As far as casting and the director, they have a lot to say so with this Jewish backed producers making this movie. So I think they have a lot of say so who's going to be cast in any roles, and this is what they chose. And I'll bet you that their cast is going to be a diverse cast, is going to be a cast that represents Pan Africanism. If I know Kugler and his whole crew, how they're doing things, I think they want to make a point of that. Finally, I'll just say that yeah, I'm like the sister. The sister just said that she's been all over the place with, folks who embraced me when I was in Africa and folks who called me white man. And, I'm with a three or four white folks, and we're in the Congo, and they have three chairs, right? And not four, but three chairs. And they let the white boy sit down, and I stood up. I felt very not good about that at all. But that was an experience, and I had to put that in perspective to, okay, this is what it is and why is it, all these questions went in my head, and I get it that we are colonized folks, and how we see white folks you know, um, is kind of across the board in some ways. I was later told though about that situation that the reason they gave the white guys a seat is because they felt that they were more visitors and that I was really more from there, which was a weak excuse. But anyway,
Mm.
I'll land right there.
Yeah, I mean, I have, based on my experience, I think there are a lot of, in fact, majority of the African American brothers, are definitely decent people. And, even based on those that come here, majority of the people that come here are very decent. We have a decent conversation, like you, Shah, and Pharaoh that comes. I can tell the difference, like you and Pharaoh that comes here. You can tell you guys know your history, you know yourself, you're well traveled. And for the fact that, like Pharaoh, for example, the way he narrates his history, you cannot tell him who the heck he is because he knows himself. Okay, and that's the reality, and this is the reason why we emphasize in the law for people to discover themselves, and before they start going into to argument about identity, because some black people are facing identity crisis, and this is really serious, and it manifests itself on here when they come because they tend to have a very low esteem of themselves, and obviously when they come, they struggle to interact with, rational with a human being, or they can't even have a decent conversation. But then obviously that says a lot about their background. But then we're in a public platform, right? You're gonna get all type of people. But some people do not represent the African American culture well, and some Black Africans do not represent the African culture well, and that's how it is. And double standard also on both sides. If you're not wise enough and rational enough to understand it, you're gonna get lopsided in one, in an echo chamber, saying, "Oh, everyone is like that," because yeah, I met a couple of African Americans, they spoke like this or they behave like that, and that's not the case. In the UK, as I said, I grew up with Caribbeans, who um, are very decent people. We had loads of dramas in the past, but as time goes on, trust me, we're a very strong community. We are building together. We're working together. We identify our flaws, our flaws. Sorry, we identify, where we actually got our strength, and we're doing it, and nothing is going to stop us. So that's the way forward. It's all about being progressive. The progressive will come together, and those that want to go regressive, they can, be around the corner and watch. I pass the mic because we've got new speakers. Thank you.
All right,
Dennis,
go
could you
ahead.
hear me? Were you hearing me or not?
I hear you now, CD. Go ahead, CD.
Okay, okay. Sorry about that. Someone just
Mm.
got me. So yeah, so my thought on this whole thing is, as I, you know, said that this is nothing about hate for Africans. This is not about Africans sue us or African enslave us. No, not at all. Um, First of all, it was Bill Clinton that started bringing Africans over in the 90s, right, to play a visa lottery program to come here. And they had a program almost like a brain drain. If you the minimal requirements to have high school diploma, or if you have a college degree, it was very easy for you to come. So it's no way that the FBA will stop the African progress. These days are over. And I know the frustration is these are the people that you guys used to call booty scratchers or stupid Africans. And now they started showing some little bit of value. That's where the hatred is coming from. It's nothing else, right? Uh, there's a movie right now they call Wakanda. I think these Jewish guys that produced this movie from New York City, and they brought this British guy. He's a black British, and all the FBAs are crying that why they should or bring a black African or black British to play a major role in this movie. First of all, the movie name is Wakanda. It's an African movie. If you are FBA, you have nothing to do with that movie, right? You are delineating from Africa. I think you should fight for a movie like Terry Perry type of movie, what they call Amadia or something like that. That's FBA culture. These are the type of movie that you should be fighting for. But you are
Come
delineating.
on, man. Come on, CD.
But
Come on, man.
what Dennis, I'm not talking to you African, right? But if FBAs don't want to identify themselves with anything related to Africa, the movie needs Wakanda, right? So I don't see that have no connection with the FBAs. They should not be fighting for things like that, right? First of all, these two Jewish guys, first of all, they are the terror right now because the movie is a Jewish guy that invested his money and brought a black actor, an African actor. Who are the terrorists now? Are the FBAs are the terrorists or are the Africans are the terrorists? Because it's called movie called Wakanda, right? It had no identity of FBA,
Yeah, but
right?
Michael B. Jordan
So
was the main character in the first one, Angela Bassett was the Queen Mother in the second one, and so it's a mix of African Americans, Caribbeans, Africans.
yeah, but not all African. They see this is why you have to distinguish this thing. I'm talking about FBAs. I'm not talking about people like Danis. I'm not talking about whoever think that is African American, that is origin from Africa. Yeah, we have to distinguish that. We cannot group all the African American to be FBA. It's just a certain group of people. They are the one crying about the movie. But why they should cry about a movie that have African identity? It makes no sense, right? So
Yeah, I get you now. I see what you're saying.
right, that's what I mean. So the movie has no relationship with FBA. If you think you're Indian, Wakanda, what would Indian name be called Wakanda? It's nothing. It has no relationship with it, right?
You never heard of the
I don't
Native
fight for
American?
Black American job. I don't fight for FBA job. I fight with white people job, right? Trump, his last interview, what did he say? He said, well, we need talented people on Fox News. They told him, well, we have talented people in America. He said, no, we don't have that talent. We don't have it, right? So at my job, they just hired an Indian guy from Canada. He doesn't have green card. He doesn't have American citizenship, but they hired in capital market. But they needed a talented person like that. Why they couldn't hire FBAs? So this is America is talent basis. This is not going to take FBA anywhere. America will always go out and find talented people and bring them over. Whether it's an African, whether it's Indian, you cannot stop that, right? I mean, Europeans couldn't even stop Africans. The FBAs will stop Africans? No. First of all,
You
right
giving
now,
SBA too much
there's
energy.
there's nobody replacing someone like Samuel Jackson, Denzel Washington. If all these guys are gone, the other rest of the actors that are going to come, they are all British blacks. These are the one that taking over the market right now. You can stop that. When Juice Man spend money into his movie, he want to make money back. He's not going to hire some FBS like Wood Rat to play major role in a movie. No, it's all about
Don't say that,
productivity,
man.
right? So I'm not. You have to distinguish there. This is not all African American. The reason why I'm on this show is because of Dennis, and I know he's African, and we will always call him African. That's what I'm here. But you will not see me on FBA shows. I don't have no identity with them, right? I have had all bad
Right.
experience with African Americans since I came here. I've not had any bad experience with white people. Does that necessarily mean all African Americans are bad to me? No. No, I have met a lot of nice ones, but the baddest experiences that I've had is for all Black
30
Americans.
30 seconds. I gotta pass the mic.
Right. So basically, FBA, they should know what they're fighting for. They are the terrorists right now. They should start fighting for Wakanda. Wakanda is pure African movie. But thank you very much, Daniel, for giving me the floor. But I'll end for now. Thanks.
Okay, guys, let me read the super chat. Babaliko 9354. Thank you for the $5 holla. CD said Medea, FBA, go fight for Medea. Tyler Perry is a disaster for Black people. Go ahead, Dave.
What's up, guys? Big up to everybody in the chat. And as usual, obviously support the channel, support our brother Dinus doing good things. With regards to topic of the show, looking at buffer classes, again, I can only look from a distance point, but there was a point that I think a question to ponder brought up yesterday where she said about numbers. And that's really where I'm interested because the African and Caribbean population in the US is not that big. And it's also not like that outlandishly like powerful in any way. Like, yeah, some people get all right jobs, some people don't. Like, it is what it is. But like, I'm just very interested to know if it is the case, and I will defer, to better placed minds or better placed opinions. But I'm just very interested if that's even like possible. Just again, like not massive communities that haven't also been there in the country for as long to build up certain levels of generational wealth and cultural capital. But I'm interested to see that. I don't think so, in my opinion. But again, like I said, I'm willing to defer to any like decent arguments or decent opinions on that in particular. And yeah, I guess that's pretty much it. And again, I know that it's been a heavy talking point from before, but I do really laugh at the fact that there's a Black Captain America that did a great movie and he was a part of a great show, and a part of even the show's storyline really delved into certain topics that really were part of Black American history. even if, just a little bit. But I didn't see the hype and I didn't see the push the same way Black Panther had the hype and the push. Like, I don't get it. Like, literally, Captain America. Captain America is the pinnacle of, like, the American superhero. Like, that's it. That's like it. Like, why did nobody go and make that film like pop? Like, Anthony Mackie should be like the man right now off of the last movie, and Loki wasn't. But either way, like, I think it's pretty much done dusted. I think like what's going to happen is going to happen. I think we also need to remember a lot of them people criticizing were never really going to come to the table in good faith. So ultimately, we'll see the movie when it comes out. We'll see what happens. But in terms of buffer classes, I mean, I'd love to see or hear any genuine like stats, like whether it's happening in any particular industries or whether it's happening in any particular states or anything like that. Obviously, I know places like Houston, Texas has a big Nigerian community. I know Washington, D.C. has a lot of Africans, New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Connecticut, Minnesota. Like, I'm interested. So, yeah, if anybody's got any interesting stats or any information to take that claim up, then I'd like to hear it. But if not, then as it's been said, it would seem that other groups hold the title of buffer class.
That's right.
What exactly is
all
a
right.
buffer class?
Let me pass the mic to M first. Go ahead, M.
Thank you, sir. I want to comment on this magnificent irony, this foolishness I heard from this dude by the name CD. If I'm not mistaken, he said something about Bill Clinton brought Africans to America, right? Did Kwame Nkrumah come here because of Clinton? And I think you owe it to this channel to do research before you come over here and just start babbling banter and just spewing falsehoods. It was actually George Bush who created the H-1B1 visa, the worker visa program. Clinton just happened to be the next president. He didn't start that program. And it wasn't specifically for Africans. Many East Indians, Asians, and others benefited from it also. But Africans was banned from America since the 1808 under the auspices of preventing the importation of slaves. That existed until 1965. Had nothing to do with Bill Clinton. It had everything to do with a man by the name of Dr. King. But you don't want to honor a Dr. King or any type of Black American. You'd rather honor a Bill Clinton, who we argue and that he actually created mass incarceration and signed the Joe Biden crime bill. But you honor Bill Clinton because he somehow did something for you. But you're going to overlook all of the atrocities he committed also in Haiti. And you only honoring Clinton. But he's talking about Wakanda is African. Do you know there's a city north of Chicago in Wisconsin called Wakanda? That's not an African name. That's actually an indigenous American name. You just spew and babble, don't know what you're talking about. And as far as the guy talking about Captain America, see, they don't know anything about our culture, right? It's never a flex in our culture to be a bottom feeder, to pick up a person's leftovers. Why would we honor Anthony Mackie for picking up Captain America's leftovers? We'll honor him if he actually became the next Blade. At least that's a baton, but we saw Captain America die. That's not his role, so it's not a big thing. Oh, he just Captain America. Like, we're not honoring somebody just for getting a job. That's not our culture. I don't know if that's y'all culture. Y'all just picking up scraps and just running around bragging about being in a person's country. Oh, we got Africans in Texas. But none of you Africans built nothing in Texas. There's no equivalent to a Liberia as far as America. There's no African built nothing, or there's no
You gonna answer anything I said at that point, or are you just
you
gonna
bragged about Africans living in America, like
No, I won't brag about nothing, bro.
So
I won't
what?
brag
But
about
there's no infrastructure or anything that Africans contributed other than just living here. There's no flex. Like, we're not flexing and bragging about Anthony Mackie picking up Captain America's leftovers and bragging about living in America. That
Well,
if
can
you
you
want
just
to brag about something,
can you
brag
add into
about.
the conversation? Because every time you come on, not be funny, but
I'm
anytime you
commenting
come
about what
on,
I heard, the rhetoric I heard.
Game
If you want
yeah,
to
over
but
brag
and
about
just make
over
something,
your own
and
point. Make your own
brag
over
point.
about
again.
brag
It's
about a
boring,
protege.
bro.
Let a
Hold on,
point of
brag.
Boring.
corruption. Point of
Listen.
correction.
Listen. I'm talking about the buffer class. I'm talking about the buffer class. If
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
going to
go on,
brag
but
about Africans living in America and just having numbers, brag about a protege that you'd have contributed to that actually made a difference somewhere. Like a Obama who came over here and was a protege of Jeremiah Wright and a black community, and we elevated this African, and then he became the president. Now y'all didn't contribute to him. And the school he went to, Harvard, we actually built it from the ground up. But to brag about having numbers in another person's country without actually making a contribution,
Explain how
it's
that
just
was a
like
brag.
bottom
Go on,
feeding.
explain how that was a brag. Go on. Explain
It's
to
just
me
bottom
how
feeding.
that was a
Like
flex.
just because
Now
you living
explain
in
to
a
me. Make it make sense.
what it really shows is we have allowed you into our country with open arms. Not the same way we could say about Africa. Like we don't have like these big mass of millions of numbers in Africa. And then Liberia, that was totally destroyed and robbed out of jealousy and hate. And then there's no city
Don't
that
know nothing
Africans
about
actually
Liberia,
built.
bro.
You haven't built anything in America to brag about these numbers. You're just taking up space. And Bill
would you say the same thing about the
Bill
Italians?
Clinton
Because
wasn't the person
Italian,
that
the
created the
migrants,
H-1B1 visa program. That was
and the
George
majority of
Bush.
the Irish that went there later on.
Yeah,
Nobody
who's
care about
worse,
no
the
Irish.
Africans or the Irish?
George Bush was the one that was responsible
Yeah.
for
He
AGUA.
created the program.
You have
Clinton didn't
no
create that
idea.
program. You
Listen,
want to talk about Bill Clinton?
it is
No,
a
wait, one
continuation of
second.
job. But what I'm saying is the reason why I mentioned the two white folks is it had nothing to do
You
with
kiss an
FBA,
ass.
right?
That's why you
So
mention him. You ain't mentioned Dr.
George
King
Bush
for
curated
starting
AGUA,
for
right?
creating the
And then
Civil
the
Rights Act.
continuation of visa lottery program was Bill Clinton. So that's
Ass
why in the
kissing Bill Clinton
90s,
for nothing.
Yeah,
He didn't
but
the
start
three
that program. That
million,
was George
the 3
Bush.
million Africans that you see here
Hey,
we
Mr.
cannot,
Dynas, Mr. Dynas, can you fact check who created that H-1B1 program? Was it George
No,
Bush Senior or was
it
it
was
Clinton?
created in 1990. It was George Bush,
It was
1990. But
George
what I'm
Bush. It
saying
wasn't no
is,
Clinton.
the reason I have to give credit to the both presidents.
Ass kissing, giving credit. He ain't.
Listen.
all I gotta say is, right,
AGUA was created by George
Hold
Bush.
on, guy. I'm talking. I'm talking. It was George Bush.
Yeah, in
Cool,
1990,
Exactly. This dude run around spewing falsehoods.
I'm
Ass
not
kissing
disputing
Clinton.
that.
Who created the crime
AGUA
bill?
also was created by George Bush. But
Man,
what I'm
nobody
saying
ain't
is that
talking
from
no more, man. He just
2010,
babs almost a hood rat.
the
You gonna call our great
Immigration Act was
actresses,
created in
right.
1990 by
Cicely
George Bush,
Tyson,
right?
Angela
Let me
Bassett,
finish.
hood
One
rats?
second,
You
is
piece of
kind of
shit.
right because I
So it
remember
had
when
nothing to do with
Wait,
FBA.
watch it, bro.
look, I remember when I was young. I remember the African American communities in the South. They used to actually sponsor a lot of black families to go to the US. That used to happen, and we used to see they used to have like a black and white paper with list of sponsorship from different families in the South in the US that sponsor Sierra Leoneans to come to America. I never discounted. Listen, I would never be ungrateful to African Americans.
But that piece of garbage called Cassidy spewing his hate and this falsehood, ass kissing Clinton.
No, yeah, but let's be respectful.
I will give credit to George Bush and Bill Clinton. The 3 million Africans that you see here is because of them.
Here we go, boy.
I never
even
get any
during
love
the
from any African
CD,
American.
That's why we
This
need
is
to
my
get these
opinion.
people up out of our country because they don't contribute anything of
You
value.
don't have
And
country.
y'all
Where's
ass
your
kissing
country?
white people.
Where's your country?
You don't bring any value. You just ass
but you
kissing
don't
the
need
white
to insult
community.
people though.
You sadden with our opposition, our enemies.
Where's your country? If I don't have bad experience with white folks, why would I say I have bad experience with them? I never had any bad experience
We
with
have
white
bad experience with white folks. You piece of garbage. Just like you have bad experience with colonialism.
This is you, but not me.
And get up out of our country then. You ain't gonna come over here and acknowledge our enemies. You gonna side with our enemy. You a traitor. You over here ass kissing killing.
But you said that.
No need for that.
You consider white folks to be your enemies?
Bill Clinton.
If they control everything,
so
white folks control everything. Do you don't know that?
Your country you living in now was built by black Americans. You built nothing. You was selling slaves. You ain't built nothing. You over here freeloading off us just like y'all freeloading off Liberians. You was a buffer class. You was a tool.
What did you build? What did you build?
No, but how? No, but like I want to know what M's opinion is about the buffer class. Like,
white
jumped
men
in
are not my
you
enemy.
joined the
I
Black
don't consider white
American,
people to be my
you joined
enemy.
the Black
Can you not
American
just
organization,
can you just
and you got
forget
your
about this
big position,
back and
and you
forward with
ass
CD
kissing Bill
and
Clinton.
move to the conversation, please? Just can you move on to the conversation?
But we need to get these people up out of our country because they just taking up space. They ain't really contributing. And then you ass
You
kissing
have
white
no
people for
country,
nothing.
bro. You have no
Big
country.
bro,
This
just
is not
ignore
your
it,
country.
ignore it.
This is
This
white
is your
people
country,
country.
you piece of garbage. You over been praising Bill Clinton, who created
This is white man
childhood.
country.
He actually started charging children as adults. That
This is
mandatory minimum. I actually lived through that time period.
Yeah,
And you
yeah, man.
praise it.
But hold on,
care what he
But
did.
hold on. One mic. I got to interject. Mr. McCoy. Hold on, Mr. McCoy. Hold on. But M, it was the Congressional Black Caucus who supported it.
Of course, they the Black Caucus, the Pan-Africanism, want to do
here we
everything for
go.
these
Oh
other
man, come on,
Here we
M.
go.
Pan
Come on,
Africanism.
man.
Come on, M.
Come
Bill
on.
Clinton.
Pan
Now you're gonna
Africanism.
blame it on the Pan
You
Africans.
go too
Pan
far.
The
You
whole
go too far,
Africanism.
man.
ideology,
Oh
the whole
Lord,
ideology of the
Pan
You go
90s,
too
Africanism.
far.
the whole
You
Black
go too
Caucus
far.
is Pan-African.
I think you're just
They say a lady
angry.
named some Chisholm lady, some immigrant started the Black Caucus.
So where's
M.
your anger coming from, bro? Why are you
I heard
angry at
this
the
Yeah.
dude on
Africans?
here bragging about Clinton. He called our great
Yes.
our
This is white
actresses
man
hood
country.
rats.
This is white man
You
country.
piece of trash. You's a hood rat. You
Oh,
called our black women, our
No.
great actresses,
No.
hood
There's no
rats.
need for that. There's
You
no need for
trash.
that.
You
There's
piece
no
of
need for that.
trash.
what do you
No, but
You
do
a hood
here?
rat.
What do you
can you
offer
stop,
in
please?
America?
You're no hood rat. You're no hood rat. You
Oh,
piece
Oh,
of
Lord,
garbage.
yeah.
You's
you
a
want to
hood
be
rat.
funny now? You want to
M.
be funny?
And there's no need
All
to
right,
censor people, man.
y'all. Okay, hold on. Let's get back. M, let's get back on top.
Please.
Let's stop.
Right.
M, let's go ahead.
Listen,
Thank you.
guys.
Go ahead, Rokoya. Go ahead,
Yeah,
Rokoya.
listen, sometimes I wonder what you guys are in your homes as individuals, as leaders for your families or your communities and all that. I mean, to have grown up men acting and
Yeah.
bickering like little kids, I got you, you got me. I feel so embarrassed. Don't you have people who are around you, your family or people listening to this? Don't you have
All right.
your spouses or your children around? You sound awful. I am going after the African and I'm going after the African American and all that. Listen, whether you keep on arguing and pointing fingers at each other, the African, you have no right to pop your chest and say, oh, we're better, or we're good, or we done this and that. That's BS. The African American, we give you your accolades for what you've done, but again, you're no better than the African as well. Although you might want to tell yourself all these nice stories about what you built and what you didn't build. If you really want to be honest, if you look at the history of what African Americans have achieved over the years, they have not done that by themselves. There's been a lot of immigrant communities that have kept coming and kept coming and kept coming. So this is not new. What is new is that certain people have taken a position that they want to delineate. And I tell you, whether you want to delineate formally or informally, we know that you're different. You're different by virtue of your experience here. But so is
Yeah.
the experience of the African over there. They're different too. And it doesn't mean that because you're different, you can't find common ground. I've always said this, and I can't imagine how I can say it more. The European Union is full of countries that have literally fought each other in wars that killed millions. But when it was time
That's right.
to put that aside and become a unit and go after the trade and go after the domination, they did it. The only people who are so confused, in fact, these people have done a great job, but Tufiakwa, I will not let this rise. It will not live within my children. We must stop this. The world is fast. We're moving. We're going into AI now. A lot of us are going to find that the jobs that you claiming Africans have taken or will take, you're not even prepared to take them. They're taking these jobs and they're creating these models. They're in Africa right now. I told you before I came here 2 weeks ago, I was in a meeting where they came with all their BS presentations, wanting to conquer another resource by owning data coming from Africa. And it's because of the knowledge that I have as my relationship with African Americans and partnering, we understood. And so we pushed back, and you will see that some of these deals are not going through because we're building, we're sharing information. There are Africans who truly see the African American. We see you, we know you, we understand you. The same African Americans see us, they know us. Why do we always have to stand on division and not stand on unity?
Mm.
I don't care what you call it. Call it Pan Africanism, Bank Africanism, self preservation, wealth creation, call it whatever. But the reality is there. You cannot build an African American power base if you don't plug into Africa. How many times should I tell you? You can say you don't want it, but it's the truth. And it is what the white establishment is trying to do. They're trying to get it. And you guys are here bickering. And the African man is saying, oh, you build nothing. If they did build nothing, what did your people build? Where
No,
is it?
then I think I should
So,
give you a point of correction.
in all
You you
fairness,
you you grouping all the African Americans together. This is not the point of argument. The point of argument is FBA. If I group all
yeah,
the African
I
Americans, no,
yeah.
listen to me. I don't
You
want you
should
to
use the
misquote me.
right language. You should
I
use
do
the
not
right
want you to
language.
misquote me.
Yes.
I'm
But
specifically
let
addressing
him speak.
African and the
Madam
FBAs, right?
sister, let
The
him.
the 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 the,
And I
the
don't
uneducated FBAs
let
are the
me
one that I'm
finish. I
talking
don't know
to.
what your name is. Let me
Look,
finish. Don't interrupt.
No,
I'm
no,
going
no.
to
I don't want you to say I'm talking about entire African American. Don't misquote me.
No,
I don't
I
want
have
that,
listened to
please.
you
I
before, and
said
you said you
FBAs.
don't have self-control. And you are supposed to be an African person who's supposed to be vested in this in your culture. African men are supposed to have self-control. I'm an African woman, but I lived in America more years than I lived in Africa. So I speak with my foot on both. I straddle. You're not. What I don't like about your position is you speak with some pride, but you don't act with pride. And that's to me, I call it all.
okay, let's not get too past now,
No, you're going
Please,
too far now, though. Y'all don't understand what you're
please,
talking about. It
I
makes no sense right now. I address the FBAs. So if you
well,
maybe
then
you have from you have a you
it's
don't we
not
don't have the
possible.
same
Let's make
culture.
people mad.
No. I don't want you to address me to that level. I'm talking about FBAs. You trying to misquote me. Do not misquote me. I said FBA that uneducated, that have no sense of direction. These are the one that I'm addressing. I continue to emphasize on that point. So
So
be clear with me,
okay,
right?
so you know
So
the other
if
bigger.
I'm speaking
can I say
about
can I say something,
FBAs.
please?
So I
Yeah.
did not say
Look,
African American did not build anything. This guy
I'll go
specifically,
after you,
he's the one
Africa.
that
After my
always been
brother.
okay,
talking
okay,
that he want free land. We don't want to have anything to give you free. He did not build anything. This guy
okay.
specifically, right? So I
Okay,
did
see, I
not
mean,
group all
CD,
the
look,
African Americans
Listen,
together.
if
No,
you
no, no,
want
no.
free
I
land,
just want you
why
to
don't
clear with
you?
that.
Okay,
But
all right,
thank you.
all right, CD, we got the message. Let Rokoya finish. Go ahead, Rokoya.
No, why do you think he doesn't deserve free land? Why?
No, that's
Because
not.
listen to me, please.
I did not say that he didn't
CD,
deserve it.
CD, CD, CD. Everything doesn't
Listen,
need a
no,
response. Let her finish.
Okay.
Let her finish.
please have self-control. Please. You're an African man. I'm telling you, if there's free land to be given, if an African king says, I'm giving free land, who are you to shepherd it for him? Even if there are people in Ghana who have land, they didn't get the land absolutely free because they charge them for registration. But where will you get a land for $700 in this world? But the African Americans and Hebrew Israelites have qualified. And FBA, if they come in there, they qualify. They're not getting the land because of what they're saying today. They're getting the land because of their ancestor who died, who left. And we Africans, we honor our ancestors. So I have no beef with any African American, even if they say they are FBA and they poo-poo on Africans. If I'm asked whether they should get land,
Who
check
cared
this
about
out.
Ghana?
Where
That's
they get
Ghana.
it.
That's not my country.
Togo is also planning to give them land.
No, I'm
Wait
not
a
from
minute, they
Togo.
should. So
Okay,
I
he's not
think you
okay,
worried
guys are
about
CD,
the
giving
land.
credit too much credit
yeah,
He's
to
not
the
worried about the
FBA.
land. He's worried about where the land
yeah,
is free. And let him get
look,
it.
man,
Whatever your name is,
yeah.
mister.
Yeah, because you
If you
guys will go
want
back
land,
and forth
you
forever.
deserve it.
Yeah.
Even if
Can you land, sister? Can you land your
I
point?
am landing
Y-
now.
yeah,
Thank you.
okay, thank you. So, I mean, look, look, African Americans, I will say, as people. I'm not talking about FBA. I'm talking about the Black Americans of African descent are by far probably one of the most resilient people on planet Earth. They are actually great people. They came from greatness, and they came from people like me, CD, the lady that just spoke, who I think some have spoken well in some form, apart of being too personal with CD, which I think is quite disrespectful also. But look, I think we all came from great people. I mean, CD, you came from people who built empires. The Mali Empire was one of the greatest empire in world history. We all came from greatness. But look, we've been a victim of the you know, uh, similar. That's basically we have been a victim of similar people. The Arabs and the Europeans. Okay, and but what made us became the victim is because it was where we are today. Infighting all the time. Having issues because you're that tribe, you're that religion, or you're that region. And these are the sort of things that do not help us at all. It manifests in itself here again. And I said this time and time. Until we stop infighting, we don't have the privilege like other group of people. We don't have that privilege.
Yep.
We either
Very well
come
said.
together, yeah, we either come together and or we just be quiet. That's why I said most of the time when I come here, if you ain't got nothing good to say, don't say anything. Okay, because some of us we came from greatness. I mean, us Africans, we're not just dusty people, who live in a mud house, who just migrate into Africa, America, or Europe. We was interrupted. At once, we built great empires like the Kingdom of Takro, the Ghana Empire, the Mali Empire, the Oyo, the Benin, and so on. You can go all the way back towards the Nubian coast, in the northeast, where you call Sudan today. So we have done stuff, and African American culture is probably the most popular culture on planet Earth today. And that's because based on their resilience as people. So we have qualities in us, but we need to focus on those things more. Instead of being too negative and trying to be too divisive online, where people can actually study us and actually probably tweak the algorithm more so we can be more divisive over a movie who is actually the actor in the movie.
Right.
Oh
I
man.
agree. I agree. I agree. Can I
Yeah.
chime in?
Yes,
So I
brother.
just
Yeah.
want to say there's a way you can say things even if you consider yourself FBA. I personally don't like to acknowledge them and give them energy and strength. But I find
Yeah.
my brothers from the continent and other places, mostly from the continent, recognizing them, and just the fact of recognizing them is giving them strength. And to me, they're if they're more than 10,000, I don't think there's more than 10,000. It's 50 million African Americans, and it's maybe 10,000, maybe. At this point, it might be that many. And so we're recognizing them as a real thing and addressing them as a real thing, and they're not. They're on the internet, and that's really where they mainly are. Most African Americans, Black Americans, don't even never even heard of FBA. Most of us. So that's one thing, but it's even if you are considering yourself that, it's how you the constructive how you making your points, and if you're being antagonistic and you're because some of the points the brother's making is some valid points about certain things. It's just how you're framing them and the energy behind it. And I think that that is not constructive because right now we don't have the privilege, we don't have the time is up, and the way that we see the continent moving and and the leaders in the continent, they're not moving in the time that they're not responding to the time that it is. They are not, except for a few, and that would be the three countries we know of, and then there's a few more. I think Namibia. I like the brother in Botswana. I'm liking a little more about what Zimbabwe is kind of doing. Some of the things they're saying and doing, and it's just it's so. As African Americans, we have to come together, but we also have to realize that we need allies. You can't isolate yourself on this planet where you got a whole system that is controlling the planet and think that you're going to be able to just bust the grape. You've got to have allies. And so if you delineate and you isolate yourself from any potential allies, especially those allies that are the closest that make sense,
but I can't expect you to recognize African people as your family because you don't have that that history or that knowledge, or you're mad and you got a psychological thing that you got to go through. You psychologically messed up, and the only thing that's going to correct that is to study some history and go through it. I think I went through it in junior high school after seeing Roots. Yeah, when I was in the 6th grade, 7th grade, we saw Roots. We were mad. We were ready to fight every white folk on the planet because of that. And it wasn't even about Africans being complicit in slavery, in the slave trade. It was more about the white folks. Our anger was with the white folks. So this is the thing that we're dealing with, family. We've got to address the some of the healing things that we know that we're dealing with on the continent. Colonization and Christianity and Islam is not helping us. And then the colonial education is not helping. And then in the United States, we are not getting the information that we should be getting in schools. And so we knew that the long game was always the education was the long game. And some of the gains that we made, you could see I'm a product of some of the gains that we made. But more of us didn't get the information. That's why we talking like crazy and talking about that we're not of African descent. So we have to face those facts, and whatever little that we can do as in these spaces when we talking to our nieces and nephews or to other grown-ups about this is not to be antagonistic, but to be constructive and say what it is. And I'm not saying some of the things that the brother's saying that's in here that was talking to CD hasn't got some points that are valid. It's just how he's saying it and the reason he's saying it. Anyway, I'll land there.
Right.
I got a question.
Let me read these super chats first. Babalico, thank you for the $5 holla. Dinah, someone in the chat saying you anti-FBA and you don't let them in the chat. Links in the chat room. Call in. I don't. Yeah, whatever. All right, M, tell me what Africans should contribute to when they come here. PCH Ryan's 1559. Thank you for $10 holla. M doesn't have any power to allow or deny anyone into this country. It is all in his head. Stop arguing with these fools. Trump won't even let him step foot on the White House lawn. All right. So links in the chat room. I always put the link in the chat room. You're more than welcome to call in and add to the conversation. I appreciate the super chats. And guys, make sure you go and stream the documentary. Go to documentary.searchforwho.com and stream the documentary. All right, go ahead.
Cool. Okay, this is like a hypothetical question for me because I am yet to have been presented with any arguments or data or whatever about whether Africans and Caribbeans are the buffer class. But hypothetically speaking, if they were, what tangible actions would people suggest that they take to negate the negatives of that? What actual things do people want? Because often I feel like we get a lot of people talking about how they feel about a situation, which in of itself is valid and it does need to be discussed. And to some effect, it does need to be respected as well. Even if disagreed with, there are sometimes sentiments which can be taken. But what actual actions, what things, what tangible, measurable things do people want these Africans or Caribbeans or whatever to do?
Well, I mean, there's no, I guess any FBAs on here to respond to that really. So I don't. M would have been perfect.
Okay.
Yeah. M rage quit. So.
Okay.
That's what he does. He only comes to rage at someone and go back. You don't come to add, anything up. And I think if he's listening, I hope he learned from that. Because he could add a lot. We could learn a lot.
Oh, hold on. M is back. M is back. Let me go ahead. M, okay. You can respond, and then after M is only.
Okay. I'm sorry, I had to go. I heard partially the question about what a tangible thing he want What do we want Africans and Caribbeans to do? But I didn't hear the whole question.
Yeah, essentially it's that. Yeah,
Yeah.
like what tangible actions or what like tangible, like measurable, like things do people want the Africans and the Caribbeans to do? Like, I'm not like flat out saying like they is the buffer class, because I ain't heard like nothing put to me to make me go that way. But if it is the case, or if that was the case, like what tangible things do people like actually want to see done?
I will say this though. We live by certain codes and ethics per region. You know, everybody know LA. They ethnic what they do, but it all has a lot to do with respect and looking up to the people that came before you. So Africans and Caribbeans can just not spew hatred. I ain't gonna say they should just keep their mouth shut, but if they're not going to actually say something good, they might not want to say anything at all. And then if they don't want to get involved, that's cool. But if they did get involved as far as having programs to teach their culture, languages, or a mentor, that wouldn't do nothing but help their cause. But they don't even do that. We just hear like vitriol and them just getting these positions and them bragging and saying, I got this position because I'm better than you, and pull yourself up by your bootstraps, and you're just lazy. So they could just not do that. They could just stay in their own enclaves and just man their business. That's cool like everybody else. But if they really want to make a difference, they might want to be more active in the community and
What about
sharing.
in Chicago, New York, DC, Houston, Miami, Oakland, where else? Atlanta, where they have African dance companies and a whole community around that since the 70s.
It
I've
ain't
been
really
in one
done
since the
nothing.
80s.
It ain't done
From
nothing.
that, I went and learned from Africans, went to the continent with Africans to learn the music and dance, and then got a degree in it in dance with a concentration in ethnology, was teaching in my community, and was part of some other larger things too with the Orisha Congress, where they had this world Congress spiritual conference that was in every 2 years, was in different
So you
countries.
basically saying what I just said is invalid. Basically, you saying this.
So I'm saying that you don't know about it. If
I
because
mean, if I
if
don't
you
know
knew
about it,
about it, I
I
can
live
give
in
you
Chicago.
this.
Listen. I
You
live in
stay in school,
Chicago.
you have no idea what you're
We
talking. You
have
still
plenty.
said student. I
City,
ain't
Hold
city,
on,
student.
hold
city,
on.
city. Let them finish, city. Because
We have
this.
plenty programs in which there's black people that have their own programs as far as mentoring, dancing, manhood training. We have carpentry programs, and the Africans join our programs, but we never really see them like spearheading anything. And
Have you heard of Muntu Dance Theater? Muntu in
I mean,
Chicago.
obviously, if I
It's been
didn't
there
hear
since
about it,
1970 something.
so what are you
And
trying to say?
I'm saying that you don't know about it.
You just contradict. You just a contrarian, man. You're not trying to
No,
hear what a person is saying. You
no, I
just
hear what you're saying.
like there's many things
I'm
that
just letting you
exist in the
know that
world, but
even
if
in
you're
your
not,
own city, that you don't
listen.
even know about that
I
African
mean,
dance
if you're not
community.
really putting up advertisements, you're not doing community outreach to let the target market know that you exist. You think we just gonna be a psychic and just overlook all of our own immediate problems and
I
just
hear
know
that.
about
I can
you?
hear that. I can hear that.
You talking about like it's things
No,
that
I can hear
exist
that
that
though.
that
But I'm
if you
saying
don't
to
really
you
let
at the
me
same
know it, that it
time.
exists, that's your
No,
responsibility
but I'm
as a
saying to you
business
at the
owner
same time, though,
to
while you
to
don't know
finance
about it,
marketing.
while
Can
you
I
don't
say
know about
something?
it, it does exist. And there's not only Muntu, there's
Regardless of
other
that,
things that
if
happen.
that
Man,
exists or
Mansa
not,
wants to speak, yo.
it's still the negative rhetoric
Yeah, I
that
think
they
we got new
spew.
speakers. Yeah.
The negative
Dennis,
rhetoric
can I say something that
that
makes
they spew
sense?
that might actually discount any small little
Well, I'm
program they
saying,
might have in the
master
corner.
is not. It's not. Master is not your turn. One second,
I
Miss
will. I
McCoy.
promise
Hold
to
on,
be
Miss
short.
McCoy. Hold on. Let me pass it to Only because I actually skipped over Only.
Okay.
Then
All right.
I'll let you respond. Go ahead, Only.
Hey, what's going on? Y'all hear me well?
I said Only, not OV. I said
Oh,
Only.
I'm sorry, brother.
Yeah, I just wanted to add to the conversation, and I wanted to say that there was a time when I was talking to these people, these white people, and then they said, "Oh, you're not like the others," and I didn't know what that meant at the time.
Hmm.
I didn't know who was the others, what did they mean, but I think that they might want to position people to be a buffer class, but I think in the end you have to be a coon to be a buffer class. Like they will only accept you if you uh, degrade others. And I think, from what I've seen, I don't think black uh, immigrants are like that, or Africans. They're just they're just plain people. They're not trying to be in this buffer class business, because buffer class, to like, for example, to me, a buffer class is trying to say, oh, you're down there, but we like you, and I don't accept that. You're not above me. You know what I'm saying? So it's a little bit insulting. You know, first of all, it's insulting to
Yeah.
say, oh, you're saying that the Black Americans are down, and you're saying we're down. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's kind of insulting. So no, no. I think only you'd have to be a coon to be a to be considered in the buffer class.
Ever heard of house
Okay.
nigga?
A
Ever heard of
token.
house nigga? That's the house nigga that lived in the big house. Is the buffer? It represents a metaphor for the buffer class.
Yeah, but I think even the slaves who lived in the house, weren't they the ones who poisoned the masters?
True, true, true,
I think
true.
you have to be a coon to be a buffer, class.
All right, let me read this super chat. By this temperament, M is the tribalist. He needs a pacifier. Go ahead, Rokoya, and after Rokoya is Mansa.
Sure, thank you. I wanted to sort of acknowledge what was said by the gentleman himself about FBA. I want to first of all let him know I heard what he was saying about how Africans can, or other non-FBA people can sort of get themselves more visibility and interactive with the site. But I dared to say to him that there are several programs like that are often run or initiated by Africans, but partnered with African Americans, because you have to understand the dynamics of it all. As an African person, for myself, who I've done a lot of work, I don't know if you've heard about Dr. Green's scholarship program in the Bay Area. Anybody from California, Northern California, you probably heard
I'm
about
from
it.
the Bay. I'm from the
Yeah,
Bay.
right. You heard about Dr. Green's program, right? Perfect.
I'm not familiar with it.
Okay, so this program has been around for the last 16, 17 years. It's all volunteers, pretty much really giving our kids, and we are Pan-African in approach. We take all the kids, African American kids, black, whatever, biracial, and we immerse them in STEM. And this is done every one Saturday, last Saturday per month. This has been going for 16 years or more. This is engineers from Nigeria, Ghana, African Americans, what have you. We've been we have 100% rate of entry into college. We're mentoring these kids. We are taking them on field trips. We are donating our own time and effort. And this program, attempts have been made to create this program in various regions. I don't know anything about Chicago, but this is one example of Africans and African Americans working to pretty much break up the community in STEM. And most of these people who are the professionals doing this, volunteering their time, a vast majority of them are non-FBA. These are professionals, engineers and stuff, and they are doing this. So what I'm saying to him is that, sure, we need to do more of this and give more visibility, but there are many things out there. And just as the algorithms bring us to these hateful conversations, let's try to get the algorithms by our searches to send us to places that are building, because they are there. They're on the internet. They're everywhere. I just give you one link. Dr. Green program. Look out for it. Thank you.
Excellent.
All right, go ahead, Mansa.
Hey, Diners, how are you doing? How is everyone doing?
Everybody's doing well.
Yeah, we're good.
Good,
Thank you, man.
Diners. Okay, man. Let's see,
Yeah.
Diners. Gotta get a few things. The question, I don't know the guy. I can't see the names, but the guy asked the question: what Africans can do to help African Americans understand each other, for us to understand each other and stuff like that. I'm gonna say that question goes for African Americans as well. and I'm gonna say this based on my experience. In New Jersey, I went to a Walmart one day, and then I went to the electronics department. So when I went behind the electronics department, I met a guy, an African American guy, and then he helped me get what I wanted to get and everything. I got what I got, and then he said, "Hold on, bro." He said, "Hold on." I said, "What?" He said, "I have a question for you." I said, "What?" He said, "You're African?" I said, "Yes." He said, "Where are you from?" And then I told him where I'm from, and then he said, "I have a question that is very deep because sometimes I see stuff going on, but I don't know, I don't understand much." He said, "How is your relationship with us here?" He asked me the question, "Or do you work with African Americans?" I said, "Yes." He said, "How is your relationship with them?" That is, I'm not gonna explain everything, but I was there for 1 hour more talking to that guy, to that brother. I was excited, and he was excited, and we started talking and talking and talking and talking. He gave me his time, I gave him my time, because of what he did. So the question, the guy is saying, "What can we do?" They have to. African Americans have to do the same as well. We have to talk to each other, because
Right.
after me and the guy talked a lot for almost an hour, we understood that we are miseducated about one another, about each other. We are deeply miseducated. And unless we can talk, unless we can trigger conversations between or amongst us, this is not going to change. I was just listening just now about back and forth when the lady came in and started talking about the other stuff. But the problem is miseducation. And sometimes, the last time I talked about something, I talked about man and his environment, Diners. We are Africans, our environment we grow up in is different, and the environment influence us. African Americans grow up in different environment and influence us as well. And then one more thing I'm gonna say, Dynast. 2 days ago, yesterday, that same guy was saying what African Americans went through here. Africans in the continent never went through those stuff. That is not right. I almost joined. I actually joined and I pulled out again because I was looking for a book. If you want to know that what African Americans went through here, Africans went through the same in the continent. You gotta read a book called The Images of Africa, British Ideas and Actions, 1798 to 1892. You're gonna be tormented. The same thing, the same tactics used in Africa and on the continent, the same was used here as well. The first sugar plantation was where? The Sao Tome Coast. And they brought the same ideas there, used the sample there, and brought it to the what? To what? To the Americas, the Brazils, and stuff like that. So we, like I said, again, it's all about miseducation. That's the key. But we got to talk to each other more and get to know each other more, like the lady said, because like Malcolm X was a smart guy. He knew that African American cannot stand by himself. He need allies. His allies were Africans. That's why he was saying he was a cultural revolutionist. He believed in African culture and the culture of black people, both in Africa and African American and in America as well. That's why we need to embrace it and follow his steps.
Well said. Well said, my brother.
Did you say Sao Tome was the first plantation, sugar plantation? Sao Tome?
Yes, if you
Yeah.
read this guy book, if you read his book, Howard French, it's literally right there. The first sugar plantation was sampled there, and then once they capture the idea there, they just ship it right over here on the
Hmm.
Americans.
It was
It's a
the
very
Portuguese.
that book is an amazing book. It's huge. When I get that book, I was crying like a baby because of the stuff I learned in that book and what they did also in the Caribbean as well. It was just inhuman. It was inhuman.
If you guys don't know, Sao Tome is a small island off of probably Gabon, Sao Tome
Correct.
and
Yes.
Principe.
Correct.
And
Yes.
I saw a documentary on it, and it talked about that. That's when you said that. It reminded me. Oh, that's right. But it's a
Yes, bro.
beautiful island,
And
beautiful.
my question to the last speaker, if you actually had like a longer experience of oppression
Yes.
by Europeans, how come our current disposition is different? How come like Africans are more like
Mhm.
lenient and empathetic towards Europeans, and us in America we are not?
Hey, bro, listen. I'm telling you about when I say the stuff I'm learning now about Africa, I never learned them over there. I'm so mad. I'm so upset. The books I'm reading, the books I just talked about, Howard French. If I was still in Africa, I would never have access to that book.
But let me ask you
The-
this: what was the experience during colonialism, which was the 1950s? How did they treat Africans?
it was brutal, like plantation as
Brutal,
well.
man.
So why are
Plantation.
y'all nice to white people if that's so recent? Like they just brutalized you.
Listen, bro,
Why are y'all
listen.
nice
Not
to
I'm
all,
them?
not
telling you.
all of us like white people.
The host is talking. Are FBA black people not white, not nice to white people?
I mean, as far as
Kind
our
of.
culture, we still separate ourselves and we see them as the devil. Like we
No,
literally
no,
taught that they were the
Nah,
devil.
bro, nah,
Hold on, God. I'm
nah.
talking. We fought to integrate with them. What are you talking about?
Not everybody.
no.
And that was
Okay,
really
No,
the,
we
okay,
the,
fought
the
to
end
integrate with them,
segregation.
We fought to integrate with them.
okay,
Diana, you know what I'm talking about, man. We
But
ain't the
okay.
same.
there were like the was it the Montgomery bus boycotts? There was a pastor. There was a black pastor that went to MLK Jr. and said, "Hey, look, y'all ain't got to fight to get on them buses. I'll provide buses." They
Dinas,
said no.
Dinas, you know exactly what I'm saying. Like
I'm not finished. We went out of our way to go to white diners where they would tell us, excuse my language, this is for context, nigger, we don't want your money. Get the hell out of here.
Donis,
They
you gotta
would
pay
spit on
$10,
us.
Donis.
We would sit.
Stokely Carmichael.
We would sit down. They would say, "Get the hell out of here, N-word. Get the hell. We don't
Yeah,
want you. We don't want
yeah,
your money."
That was the challenge.
yeah.
The whole institution
Yeah, it was
of
out of
segregation.
defiance. Yeah,
It
it was
was.
out of
Okay.
It wasn't
defiance.
really because we wanted to be there. It's like we're gonna be here now. What you gonna do about it?
Because
We
you
had to
But
because
challenge that.
you saying we
Okay,
can't do it.
just
what happened? But we gave up everything, to integrate.
Regardless of that, what I'm saying is today in 2026, the
right.
average Black American ain't kissing no white man ass like
M.
Africans
No,
is.
it's not all of them. Some of them are.
Not
Not all
even
of
at
Yeah.
them.
all.
Okay.
You can't
M.
generalize.
FBAs
Come on,
are
man.
in love
Not
M. Let me
white
tell
even.
you
people.
something,
They
brother.
want to be close to white people.
No,
And
no.
I don't have nothing against white
They
people.
want to be
M.
close to us. What do you think
Nothing.
gentrification is? They come into our communities. We're
Yeah.
not
Not
going
M.
because
over
they
there.
want to be close to us. They want
They
to take
call
our
they call
shit.
that
They want to be
gentrification. If you
because
don't, if you can't,
we
if you
No,
have
they
can't,
want to
beautiful
take our shit.
neighborhoods.
They don't want to be close to us.
We have
Real quick.
beautiful neighborhoods next to the lakes. It's like Liberia and Sierra Leone is on the lakefront or the ocean front. Like we have like aesthetically taste. We have good taste. So they look at that like that. Why they on the lake? Why they got these beaches? We need that. Like we
Yeah.
don't we
One
when
second. M. I
Yeah,
want to tell you
we
something.
have
M.
good taste. You say what?
the brother got something he want to tell you.
Let Master say something. Then I got to pass the mic. Go
Yeah,
ahead, man.
please. I got what you're saying. I understand. I see the difference. As well, how we behave some of our people. But I'm telling you, brother, I'm gonna repeat this. I don't talk too much. I just say key stuff. That's why I think before I talk. The key thing is miseducation. The educational system is dangerous. It's a mess. It's a whole type of mess. And then even here, my kid, when they go to school, when they teach them about Africa, when they come home, I have to reverse everything again. I have to go to my library and say, Jane, my daughter's name is Jane. I say, Jane, come. That's not true. That's not complete. Here's the book. Let's get these books together. So we take the weekend and go over these books, like our French book, like how you grew up underdeveloped Africa, all this kind of stuff. So the education system needs to change for us to be a little bit different than you guys behave to them like that. That's what I can say. Go ahead, Dennis.
But it's better you should be in Africa then, because that's the best way to solve that problem. Because
All right,
the system was made
hey,
by white men.
CD. I got to pass the mic. Ov, go ahead. And after Ov is Babaliko. Go ahead, Ov. Ov, you got to unmute yourself. Ov, you got to unmute yourself.
Yeah. Sorry about that. I was answering a text message. My apologies.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So there's a lot going on tonight in this conversation. A lot of productive stuff. I'm gonna try to be as brief as I can. There's a lot of people in the room. A little bit of background by myself before I just give y'all context. I am born in the States to immigrants. Um, my experience is a little bit of both. I was taught to avoid the diaspora wars at all costs as a kid because I got immediate exposure to racism at a very early age living in New York, believe it or not. And I was taught that proximity is the actual enemy. Proximity to the oppressor is what really, really, really fucks us up as a people, part of my language. I personally never really saw. I look at blackness as obviously everyone's experience is gonna be different. Obviously throughout the diaspora and all that. I feel like there's a common line of there's different flavors of, and none of them are good. They all manifest in the big cities that we all kind of coalesce in, right? Being in New York and being in the tri-state area in general, I know people in other cities as well can kind of relate. The diasporans, people of the Caribbean like myself, people from my family is also from Brazil as well. So there's that. Um, we have more in common than we don't, and I don't really. When one asks what can we learn from each other, I feel like if we just put down the petty, I know it's super kumbaya, but a lot more to be gained from just putting aside the pettiness, putting aside the squabbles that really don't exist, because a lot of it is propagated by a lot of, let's call them nefarious beings online. Um, yeah, man, this is so much. Y'all touched on so many topics, and my head is spinning, and I would love to just dive in if there's a roundtable or anything as well, man, or if y'all have any questions.
All right, go ahead, Babaliko.
Yeah, I normally don't agree with CD, but what CD haven't said anything wrong. What CD said earlier on was 100% right. 100% right. Like what? Like as CD says, a white man country. He ain't lie.
It is.
He ain't lie. Where's the lie? Where is the lie? You know, they're always coming like we need to pay homage and all this nonsense. It's a bunch of nonsense, man. You know, when people goes to other people's country, everybody who goes to somebody else's country tries to do their best there. They try to make it and try to do best. They're good. You see Black Americans in Africa, they're not even building houses no more. They're building complexes. They're building resorts. Okay? I see what's his Nas ex-wife in Kenya. She bought how much acres? So why Eminem complaining about nonsense? It have real FBAs going in Africa and building and doing what they have to do. The ones who complain is the one who does nothing with themselves. They sit down and they cry like a little baby and does nothing. Go and do something, man. Stop crying. Stop talking about we don't pay no homage. Nobody cares about none of that. Somebody said last week, I don't know who it was. They said, where is the white American men complaining that the Polish and the Russians and the Italians is coming here? Somebody said that last week, and that is 100% right. No white Americans complain. You never hear no white American complain about that. But we Black people always complain about something. And then these guys want to say, M is just, you know, if everybody was in Africa, M would have been with a tribe, and he would have been saying, I'm Mandinga and you is Igbo. He would be saying the same thing like
this guy can't be Mandinga, please. Yeah, I'm not stupid anymore be like this. This guy fucking got
He's a madman. He's a madman. In Creole, it's what we call a clean Chris, man. He's a madman.
Somewhere that did not come from my tribe, please.
Right, but somewhere between what Monta's saying and what CD's saying, because Monta's saying that it's a lack of knowledge that we do stupid things when we go to America, or if we go to Africa and we're not conscious about what's going on in Africa and in the political situation. But so it's like, even though it's a white,
made some good points.
But CD had some points too, though. But I would say somewhere between, because the thing is when you come to a white man's country, if you're educated or you're conscious, you're going to ally with Black folks here in the United States. The ones of us who are conscious, who are, you know, kind of more Pan-African, is Afrocentric, you're going to align with that community more so, and do things. You know, you don't want to jeopardize your position because of your status, and you can't be necessarily involved in the forefront of political things, because, you know, that would potentially put you in a position where you could be deported. So and that's what's happened to my teacher. You know, he was involved in the ways that he could be, but he couldn't, you know, do what he wanted to really do in some of those things against what was going on with the Congo. So I mean, but I'm saying though that what brother, if I miss your name, what he's saying is legitimate questions, but I think it's just information that he needs to know, that it's a lack of education and understanding when you come into this country. If you got a colonial mentality, when you get here, you're going to act colonial.
Exactly. M needs to go to Africa and get himself. get himself a nice African woman. Okay, people will
I
cook
told
Now
him
him.
this
that
man is a
last time.
student. No African woman was. This guy's your student. He stay trying to
FBA,
be an
All right,
architect.
stop,
Yeah,
all
no,
stop.
no.
right. I don't have no stress. When I get up in the morning, my wife
Stop, please.
make breakfast.
What's
I
out
don't
of
have no
here?
stress. Okay, so you probably need a nice
He
little
want free land. He want free land. Let him go to that Ghanaian lady that's speaking. Say
See,
Ghana is the one that causing all this trouble for us.
listen, if
Ghana is no. Ghana is not giving land. Ghana is giving land to
They,
take
they,
back.
they
You
exploiting people
understand?
talking about they give land.
He
They are the
exploiting people,
biggest
man.
scammer in Africa. Fucking Ghanaians.
Come with the dollar. We give you land when you finish building the house. You're like, no,
Ghanaians are the
sorry, we
one
didn't
causing
mean,
all this
we didn't
trouble
mean to
for
give it to
Africa.
you. We just
but
lease you the land. So can we have it back, please?
nobody's holding you back. Go travel. When I'm on the
No.
plane,
When he go to Ghana, they will scam him. They will take him to the Durgeon. He will pay some money, and they will say, "Come down small. We're going to give you land." There's no fucking land in Ghana.
You never
BT,
trust
Disappointing
anything
shit.
I
all
come
right,
out
all
there,
right, all right,
man.
y'all. Let me pass the mic before we get a little out of hand. Go ahead, questions to ponder.
Dynas, panel, live chat, and everyone listening, good evening. So I wanted to go ahead and continue from last night and some of the previous lives in regards to Black communities and and overall societies and environments that have been built by those who refer to themselves as FBA. However, these areas are being taken over by the Hispanics. In the back chat, I did go ahead and post a link. CNN about 10 days ago interviewed a Hispanic girl who, quote unquote, grew up in Southeast Atlanta. You heard that right, Southeast Atlanta, which I believe was basically the hood for Black folk. I go ahead and I say that because they were referring to her and she referred to herself as a native of Atlanta. And it was mentioned that her family are immigrants who came in the early 2000s. And they did not really specify whether or not she was born in Atlanta, but she identifies as someone who is a native of Atlanta. This is very important to note because we're now hearing discussion about Hispanics in Georgia. Let's remember, historically, there has never been a Spanish speaking population of any great platitude in Georgia. Georgia is the 13 colonies original, which would be Black and white people, just Black folk and white folk. There's Spanish Florida, which many of us know, the Black Seminole, of course, California with the Black Cherokee, the South, namely Mississippi with the Black Choctaw, and Oklahoma, further Black Choctaw. So we do know there are Black people who have Native American indigenous descent. Choctaw Nation, 30% of that population were Black slaves. And the Choctaw fought on the side of the Confederacy. So when now bringing up Georgia, which has always historically been Black and white, the fact that you now have a growing Hispanic population underneath, without Black people really noticing, speaks volumes as to where FBA is not focused. Like I said yesterday, this group is taking your area. And if they take Georgia, that will be massive because we're now talking about traditionally, historically Black neighborhoods and cities. Think about them taking DC. I also wanted to bring up that when you look at the DSA, the Democratic Socialists of America, that group has nothing to do with Black America, nothing to do with FBA. That group, again, are majority Hispanic. The leader of the New York City branch of the DSA is a Hispanic, and these people are culturally Marxist. If you look at their dialogue, their 10 points, it has nothing to do with Black people.
That's not
Nothing.
true. I'm in New York, and
Nothing.
Mamdani
I
said
went
that
to,
there.
please let me finish. Mamdani is one person who's New York City mayor. I'm talking about the party as a whole. Read the 10 points and decide for yourself if anything about what they're saying is going to benefit you. Marxism, liberation theology, communism has not boded well for Black people, specifically Black women, especially in this country. What it's going to result in is Black women being the labor, the yoke of carrying this group as it always has been, as opposed to, I'm just saying, capitalism, where you can work and perform and make money for yourself. So I just want to put that out there. It's one thing, Hispanics, I've always been in California, but FBA, you gave the Hispanics California. That's theirs now. You're only about 6% of the population.
FBA, who you
FBA,
referring to? You mean African
And then,
Americans, or you mean
and then
specifically FBA?
I call yourself whatever you want. The fact
No,
is,
no, no.
I
You're
don't.
calling us
What?
something, and
Please,
I
why are
want you
you
to be clear
interrupting,
about
sir? If I
what you
may please
call
finish,
us.
sir. If I may please finish. The fact of the matter is that you have a group, the Hispanics. They do not identify themselves as white America. Think about it.
We
They
have
want
a
to be.
group of 50
May I
million
please?
people.
Can I please finish? The Hispanics do not refer to themselves as white America. They want to be white. They are not looking at being white America. That's a very important distinction. Very important
But you
distinction.
calling them Hispanics,
If they
not
want
Raza.
they want to be white, keep in mind something. Black people on this
How about
panel,
FBA? What FBA want to be?
those of you black people on this panel, those of you in the live chat, those of you listening, you know who white folk are.
She's making valid
Excuse
points.
me,
We
if I
need to
may please
listen.
finish.
FBA is
Those,
5,000
if I
people.
may please finish. Those of you who are in this, those of you listening, you know who white folk are. Hispanics are not white folk. They don't have the
Mm,
history. They don't even go to college to even learn about the history of this country. They have the lowest
right.
college graduation rate. That is important because going to college, especially for immigrants, you will learn, you will at least have a basis understanding of American history. And that is very important for every immigrant. You need to know the history of this country, all 400 plus years. When you have a group that does not even identify as they want to be white, but they don't want to be white America. They just want to be white.
Mm,
You have to look at the
mhm.
cultural differences and what of their culture, of Hispanic culture, Latin America, South America, are they bringing into this country, and how it's going to affect Black folk. You can
Right.
call
And
yourself,
and see, the
you can
thing
call
is
yourself.
that
Do
Well, the
you,
thing is, let me finish. You can call yourself FBA, you be Black America. At the end of the day,
no,
you
no,
are.
no.
Please
You're
let me finish. You can call yourself FBA. You can
no,
call yourself Black
no.
America. At the end of the day,
If
you
I if
are
I
Black
if I
folk.
can if
At
I
the
can interject, the question is
I'll go
Diane. If
ahead.
I get,
I yield. Thank
but Shaw, I mean, we don't want to get caught up in semantics. I know some of us get offended when we're referred to as FBA, but if you look at South Central LA, you look at Compton, you look at communities that are predominantly Black American, whatever you want to call it. I mean, she's right. So I don't know if that's what
mm,
triggered you, but
No, I mean, if you say whatever you want to call it, and then you say FBA all the time, or you use it more frequently to refer to the 50 million of us, then you use Black American or African American, you are intentionally saying FBA, which connotates a very vitriol
And
group, a
Diners,
xenophobic group,
then you complain
and you
about
have to
them
stop doing that.
interrupting
You
each
got
you
to
other.
stop
prefer,
doing that.
would you all
no,
prefer Black
no,
folk?
and wait.
That's the confusion the FBA is bringing to America.
No,
FBA
FBA is
but I
5,000
mean,
people.
but FBA Black, what she's the basis of what she's saying is right. I mean,
Black folk.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
referring
right.
to Black folk.
I think
Mischaracterizing
we're
us,
worried about the wrong
misclassifying
thing.
us.
Well,
I get what you're
Well,
saying, but it
she's right.
definitely is a group, and it is a very negative group.
I
And then
am
you,
referring to Black folk. Whatever you call yourself at the
no,
end of the day,
no,
you are Black folk.
I push
You
back
have
on that.
another group
You've
taking
made your
Black
point.
folk society,
Yeah, I push
Black
back on
folk
that. Can
environment,
you
Black
please
folk
refer to
cities.
our group as African American or Black
Okay,
American? I would
African American,
appreciate that.
Black American. You
Thank
had
you.
California. You had
Thank
California.
you.
Who's living there now?
Thank
Black
you. That's
America,
important
Yeah.
because you're giving them
because
American.
it's
way
not
too
the
much
Anyone
same.
energy.
else?
It's
African
different from
American,
FBA.
Black
You know.
No, we're
American.
not
You
No,
FBA.
are
but
You're talking
guy,
about
100%.
but I think again, Shaw, I think, but is she right? What she's saying, Shaw? Is she right?
Yes.
I would say we don't. I don't think we should worry about that. I think we should worry about organizing our group and organizing on local, regional, and national level.
Shaw. Is she right?
Yes, she's
I
right.
don't even. What
John.
is she saying?
Yeah.
What is she saying? She's saying that what?
Oh, see, Shaw, you're so caught
I
up with the
miss.
FBA stuff.
I
How
am.
you
I'm
missed what she
so.
said? All right,
I
Yeah.
we gotta move on. Go ahead, Maya sisters.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Maya sisters.
Sorry. Sorry.
Hi. Yeah. Thanks for allowing me on. I've just been sitting and listening to all of the comments. I had wanted to speak on what someone else had said before, but since Question to Ponder came on, I will try and address some of the points that she raised about Hispanics and FBA. First thing first, FBA is a designation for an ethnic group. Okay. And basically, what that means is if you do not have an immigrant
in your family, and it's all about a lineage to to American freedmen who were emancipated on American soil.
You don't get
The
to call all
lineage,
of us FBA. I'm sorry. We're not all. We're not. We don't ascribe to FBA because it's a negative group. It's
They
vitriol.
keep cutting off the women, man.
can I finish? And I agree with, I can't see who said that, but not all Black Americans identify as FBA. But according to the FBA definition, it's not a group that you join. It's about your lineage, your documentation that can be recorded through genealogical records, whether you agree with it or not. Delineation is the actual movement. And delineation, it's not just about putting up guardrails against Black immigrants, but the delineation movement is also safeguarding benefits and privileges for American freedmen who were emancipated or who were enslaved on American soil. So that means that delineation is not only about Black immigrants, but also it's about protecting group benefits from Hispanics, from Indians, from the LGBTQ plus community, all of those communities. So question to ponder, that's where there is a flaw in your logic.
Are you of African descent?
I am of African descent.
Okay.
I am what would be called FBA. However, I acknowledge my African ancestry. Some FBA do not. I do. I can't speak for what other people say or what they believe, but I acknowledge my African ancestry, and I also acknowledge my ancestors who were here in the United States, because I am American. Okay.
So there's no difference between African Americans and FBA if you acknowledge your African ancestry. Yes or no?
Well, you know what? According to them, there is, because some FBA argue that they are indigenous.
No. I'm saying, okay, if you acknowledge your African ancestry and you call yourself FBA, there's no difference between an African American or Black American than you. I'm speaking about you and people like you. There's no difference, right?
Well, based upon what I'm hearing, on the show here, there appears to be a difference, because I feel, and this is my feeling, that there is a compulsory identity mandate from many African immigrants. You must identify your African heritage. If someone chooses not to identify their African heritage, I don't feel that we should force them to.
So there's a compulsory thing that says that Africans from the continent or elsewhere should identify themselves.
Hey, Miss Maya, in Islam, when they was conquering, they had something called the Shahada. You had to acknowledge Prophet Muhammad, and if you didn't, they'll kill you. So this seems similar, like he's trying to force you to acknowledge something with a
No,
stipulation.
I'm just saying that we're the same, but the difference is that they want the people who call themselves FBA that consider themselves of African descent want to delineate from other Black folks, whatever. But my thing is this: is as an African American, right? We don't have an issue of delineating because we believe that we, as African American, come from Africa, went through the slave trade and all the slavery and all of that. We went through all of that, and here we are today. Somebody that
Sound
comes
like
from
a
Africa,
religious dogma.
they're not African American if they're from Nigeria or from Colombia or Brazil. So you don't need to change your name to FBA. The only difference that we're having is that you want to delineate because you want to protect your entitlements from the government.
It sounds like
And,
religious
and we're not,
extremism.
yeah, we're not,
I have a
You want to
we're
question.
force
not
a
concerned with
person
that.
to
Let
acknowledge
let
your
let let let
ideology.
let Maya finish. Go ahead, Miss Sister.
No, you're missing the point, and I'm glad you brought that up. It is not just our genetic tie to Africa, but it's also our life experience of our ancestors in this country.
I said that.
Okay. For example, African immigrants, they did not experience Reconstruction or post-Reconstruction, the Black Codes, Jim Crow. There are pivotal moments in history that shaped who we are
Yeah.
as Americans, and many Black immigrants who came after 1965, they don't have that experience. So we are different. Does that
Okay,
make
but we're not even arguing that. We're just saying that it is that basically we believe the same thing. We are from Africa. We went through this experience here in this country, and this is who we are. We're Black Americans or African Americans. Now
but
y'all want to come up with something different because you want to either
no,
not be of African descent. Many of you don't want to claim that,
So, are you
and
trying
many
to
of you want to
convert her to your
delineate.
ideology? You're trying to
No,
convert Miss Maya to your ideology.
no. I'm telling
What
you
do you
what
mean
it
by
is. They
convert?
want to delineate
It
because
sounds
they
like
don't
you're an
want African.
extremist, like one of them, the jihadists who was going around forcing people to convert to Islam or die
Well,
if they don't make the
most
shahada.
of us call
The
ourselves
thing,
African American or Black American. The
Why is this?
majority
Why
of
does
us
it
do,
matter what we
by
call
far.
ourselves?
Because why? Then why does it
Well,
matter that we
hold
say
on,
FBA?
Miss Maya. Are you? Go ahead, Miss Maya.
okay? The point that I'm making here is that foundation people who want to identify as FBA, there are unique markers that we want to acknowledge from being having ancestors on American soil. And those unique markers, they are not available to Black immigrants. It's not to say
Right.
that they are lesser than, it's just saying we're different. What
Okay,
is wrong
so
with saying we're different?
but that's a given. We know that we're different. We don't need to be called FBA and delineate to know that we're different. We have a new African culture in this country. As Americans, our nationality is American. Our ancestry is African. We know we're a new culture. We're African Americans, and that's what we've been saying for the last 40 years. So for y'all to come up and try to be brand new with this FBA is just some brand new bullshit.
We need cultural
It's,
tolerance. You can't just force everybody to be your ideology.
No, it's not my ideology. Like I said, it's been around for 40
it's
years.
Go ahead, Miss Maya. Go ahead, Miss Maya.
is it Shaw? How old are you?
I'm older than you, probably.
Would you mind telling me your age? I'm 61.
63.
63. Okay, we're both in our early 60s.
And how old are you?
I'm 61. What gives us the right to tell the younger generation how they should identify their ethnic heritage?
I agree. I agree with that. The problem became when I first came into a space 6 years ago, when they first started this mess, they were saying to me what FBA was. I said, "Oh, I'm an FBA. I got ancestors from Africa, and I got Indian. I think I got Native American, and I got some white in me. So I got white, I got Native American, and I think I got Native American, and I got African. Oh, you got African? What where from Africa? Where?" So they took me through all of this questions and interrogation and shit about my ancestry, right? By me, and I'm thinking, "Oh yeah, this is cool." Right. And then after that, the very first space I was in Twitter, this is was with these black folks that were starting this FBA stuff with Tariq Nasheed. They later changed and went into from FBA to Secure the Tribe. Now they're not even doing that anymore. But after hearing them, and then a few days, a week or so after that, I was like, "Oh hell no, I'm not aligning with
They
these."
started reparation first, and that reparation is
They
still
are
bad.
full of negativity and talking
Charles,
crazy to
Charles, do you
Africans. It
know the
was a
United
mess.
Nations declared that everybody has the right to self-determination?
No, I don't have a
Every
problem with
nation has
that.
a right to a
I don't have a
flag and a
problem with that.
nation and
And I
self-determination.
would have been an FBA
So why are
right
you trying to
now if it
focus
wasn't for
on
the
another
xenophobia and the
person's
vitriol.
self-determination? Why does it matter to you?
So again, like I said, if you have an identity, it shouldn't be changing every 30 years or 10 years because we was colored at one time, Negro at another time, Black, and then African American. Well, there's a
That's
problem
our
here.
prerogative to do that.
It's a
Like, why does it
problem.
matter?
It matters. It's a psychological issue. How many times have Italians changed their names or Germans changed their names? Or Yorubas changed their names or Mandingos changed their
We
names?
not them, man. Why
We
you
have
worrying about
we have an
this is crazy.
identity
The lady was talking. You
challenge
just basically threw her whole
because it
whatever she
doesn't
was
make
gonna say. You kind of
sense.
threw it off. Like I was listening to her, and you start interfering.
Hold on a second. Did I insult you? I am just offering
No.
my opinion, and this is what I don't like about people who are anti-FBA. We can disagree without being disagreeable, but I do want to address the question prompt here about the buffer class because no one brought this up. Have you all heard of the Barbara Jordan Commission? Okay. In the 1990s, Bill Clinton commissioned Barbara Jordan to study immigration and its impact on Black Americans here in the United States. And I'm just summarizing the Jordan Commission. And the Jordan Commission, the study was in place from 1990 about 1996, 1997. You all can Google it. But anyway, the commission concluded that illegal immigration negatively impacts Black Americans, particularly low-skilled Black males. Now, Bill Clinton was the president at the time. Now, Bill Clinton asked Barbara Jordan to head up this commission. And when they came back with the results, he decided not to implement anything in the Jordan Commission that would have protected low-skilled Black Americans. And so illegal immigration continued to happen. Now, because Black immigrants are part of the immigration system, not just illegal, but also legal immigration. Whenever there is a mass migration of immigrants, the Jordan Commission found that it regresses wages, and so it lowers the wage floor, and the people who are most impacted are Black males. So what this commission showed was that immigrants, and this includes both Hispanics and Black immigrants, they are the buffer class that is used by businesses to keep the wage floor low and to exploit labor.
May I respond? May I respond, Dinah, please?
Go ahead.
Oh my God.
May I respond? Okay, great. Thank you.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Dinah. Thank you.
Then after you, I'm gonna pass it to Pharaoh.
I appreciate that, sir. If I may please not be interrupted. When you're speaking of legal and illegal immigration, there is one group and one group only, and that is Hispanics. The number does not even touch all of the other countries combined. Mexico, for legal and illegal immigration, is well over 90%. And it's been that way for over 30 years now. There's no comparison. Then when you add the other
90% question to
Can I please, ma'am, may I please? Thank
no,
you. When you speak, ma'am, you spoke. I did not interrupt you.
Where are you getting the
Dinah,
90%?
Don't interrupt her.
When
Where are
you
you getting 90%?
Ma'am, when you look at the other Hispanic-speaking countries, you are now looking between 93, even upwards to 97%. It's not even close. This is legal and illegal immigration. DACA DACA was just Mexico was over 443,000. That is well over. That's almost with the other Latin American countries. That's 95%. That the other countries don't even compare. That includes China. That includes all of Africa and the Caribbean, and of course, it even includes the Europeans. It's just not close. The vast majority of all immigration, just because of geography, is coming from the Americas. Latin and South America. These people can come in illegally. They use coyotes. They, of course, are granted tourist visa. And many of these women, for decades, they use the tourist visa to have their babies in hospitals. They go to the emergency room, have their babies in hospitals, and don't pay. That was a constant big issue for really since the late 90s. And there have been healthcare providers that have actually shut down because of the amount of people, which at that time were Hispanic immigrants, using the medical healthcare system. Just one example, there was a hospital about 20 years ago actually billed the country of Mexico over 50 million. I read it in a newspaper article. Kaiser Permanente actually had, in the late 90s, they left Texas because they were 52 million in debt just from the emergency room. Who do you think that was? When you're speaking about immigration, it's just one group, number one. Number two, when you're looking at depressed wages, the vast majority of these immigrants, the Asians and the Black immigrants, are professionals. They are not taking these low risk jobs, these low wage jobs, which are primarily Hispanic, which I mentioned yesterday. Hispanics are the laborer class. When you have the laborer class, we've all seen these stories. I understand that many Black women moved out of domestic servitude. So a lot of those jobs, which were customarily Black women, went to Hispanics. And I even learned that in college. Most of the jobs that were taken by Black people were then replaced by Hispanics.
That's a fact. That's a fact, Niels.
In construction, Hispanics. When you're looking at the tech sector, which of course has grown over the past 20 years and moved exponentially in 2008 past social media, low interest rates. You had a lot of Indians. They're coming through big consulting companies. Those of you who have worked with these big consulting companies like TCS, Wipro, Infosys, these are Indians. These are Indians. Even the big consulting companies, IBM, KPMG, Ernst & Young, they hire Indians and very, very, very few Black immigrants. These are high professional roles where you are obtaining a college degree here in the United States. They also, when it comes to these high professional roles, they're going to Americans first. It goes to Americans first, hands down. American veterans, and then of course white people, and then Black people. If you go into any IT, any company, I'm not talking Google or Apple. I'm just talking about like a hospital, healthcare IT, an insurance company, and of course all of the banks, financial services. They have IT support, which are huge, huge sectors, and they have to have them by law. Every heavily regulated industry in the United States has to have an IT, like they all do, and cybersecurity, which I do. This is majority white and Black men. The
Yeah,
Americans,
Mister, what's your name?
they
Miss?
run white
What's
men, Black men run the show when it comes to IT in the United States. I'm not talking about these like Apple, Google. I'm just talking about the everyday uses that we have, like the airlines, utility companies. They're all IT companies, but really by far it's always Black people, white people first. The immigrants, which are a lot mainly Indians, they are used by consulting companies who do like managed service provider. So they bring in a lot of Indians, and then there's a few Black Africans. This is not taking from any low wage job. These are not low skill jobs.
But
So
there are
I,
Miss.
I
I want to ask you
what
that.
Maya,
So,
I
what
know
is
what
the,
Maya, excuse me, I know what Maya is referring to, the Barbara Jordan study. I did read it, but that does not apply to the vast majority of immigration outside of Hispanics. It's
Yeah,
Hispanics that
but
have
in New
directly
York, yeah,
affected low wage
yeah.
earners.
I live in New
Trump,
York, and
and,
there's
when
a
you look
cross
at,
section.
excuse me, when you look at truck drivers, didn't Trump made it
You got to
mandatory?
allow people to jump in,
Excuse
Sister
me,
A.
when you
Yeah,
look at truck drivers, remember now made it mandatory that you have to speak English. Why would he do that? Because he had a lot of Hispanic drivers. A lot of these jobs where it's only
They were Indians as well.
Spanish speaking, those are the jobs that were negatively affecting Black men, not necessarily Black women, because these are blue collar, hard labor jobs.
In New
But
York
black
City,
men,
there's a cross section of a lot
And
of lower labor jobs and also white collar jobs in New York City. So you have a lot of brothers that recently came from Africa that are doing delivery and then working in other types of blue collar, jobs and delivery service and restaurants and that kind of thing. You have that in New York, but as well you have Africans from the Caribbean that are in the Human Resource Administration and other social service jobs in New York. So it's a cross section of lower labor service jobs and white collar jobs.
it's
I
not a
think
cross
what
section.
the lady that
It's
just
not a
spoke, I
cross
think
section.
she's
The
really
majority
informed.
of these jobs that you just mentioned are going to black people first. And you only
Yeah.
specified New York. When you look at let's just say you're correct, New York. The rest of the country, that is not true.
No,
100%.
no, you're right, Miss. I think you are well informed. Everything that you're saying right now, I agree with you 100%. And the Indians, when they bring them in New York, they station most of them in New Jersey. They transport them in the buses early in the morning. So these are the cheap labor that they bring from India, right? So when you talk about high-end job, like a corporate job, white people come first. That's 100% true. And
Yeah,
second,
it's
black.
veterans
So we
first.
don't take
Veterans?
African American job. We don't. We African
No,
don't go for African American
absolutely
job.
no,
Okay.
absolutely not.
Nah.
It's first
Okay.
veterans. It's first veterans. Also,
Let me let other people to respond. Go ahead, my Miss Sisters.
Okay. There's a lot going on there. Okay. First thing first, a question to ponder. To say that Hispanics are the laboring class and that they are low education, it
yes,
depends
they are.
on
Yes, they are.
Now,
Correct.
wait a
Yes, they
minute.
are.
Please let me finish. If they are new arrivals, yes. But if they are first generation, second generation, and beyond, they are proficient English language learners, and they are college degreed.
Respectfully, no, ma'am. Respectfully, no, no, Maya.
Question to ponder. Like you didn't want anybody to interrupt you,
I
so
did. That's
don't
correct.
interrupt.
I'm sorry,
Okay,
Diana.
don't
I'll go on
interrupt. Thank
mute.
you.
Thank you. Sorry about that.
Okay. Now, regarding DACA, DACA is a very complicated matter. It was first created under the Obama administration. And what was Obama's ethnic background? Question to ponder.
That's for anybody.
Can I be heard?
What was
White and Kenyan.
his mother? A white mom, a white mother from Kansas, American mother from Kansas, and his father was a Kenyan national. So DACA, FBA had nothing to do with DACA. It was signed by a child of a Black immigrant. Now, in 2012, hold on, let me finish. The Obama administration signed a memorandum allowing children who were brought into the United States to have legal status so they would not be deported. And DACA has been challenged over the years. And so there's a provision in DACA that allows the children and the children are now adults. It allows them to have work permits so they can legally work and stay in the States. Well, Texas sued, and Dinas, are you from Texas?
No, I'm from California. I'm from California, but my mother's side of the family's from Texas.
Okay. Well,
Some sack of tomatoes.
Texas sued DACA as unconstitutional, and the appeals court upheld their plea, stating that the memorandum that Obama used did not go through the proper administrative legal procedures. And so DACA has been, and then the Trump administration, as you all are probably aware, during his first administration, he tried to strike DACA down, but the Supreme Court upheld DACA because the Trump administration did not follow proper legal procedures. I'm not an attorney, and if someone is an attorney and who can explain what the Trump administration did not do in terms of legal procedures, please come up and share what it was. So it isn't that FBA did not fight or that they are permitting the Hispanics to stay under DACA. There is legislation or court action allowing them to do so. And so my point here is this: you talked about education. Question to ponder: are you aware that ESL is considered a linguistic handicap, and that people who speak English as a second language, they can qualify in many ways under the Student with Disability Act? Were you aware of that? Question to ponder.
Yeah,
Okay.
Dinus, can I speak?
Yeah, she's not. No, she wasn't aware of that. So, yesterday you
There are other
Yeah,
people on the panel.
Miss Sisters, hold on, Miss 45 seconds. I gotta pass the mic.
I will. Question to ponder insinuated that FBA does not give Hispanics any smoke. We do actually give Hispanics a lot of smoke. When the Trump administration started deporting Hispanics were all over social media begging FBAs or Black Americans to come out and help. And Black Americans said, we're not immigrants. This is not our problem. We are not immigrants. So we do challenge Hispanics, but there are laws in place that protect them. And so I yield the floor.
All right, go ahead, Pharaoh.
Yes, peace. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, peace, Dinus. Yeah, I want to first touch on this FBA backlash on the Black Panther movie. First of all, it's mad that the African character was. You should have been mad at the first Black Panther. You should have been mad at the first Black Panther that chose Chadwick Boseman, because according to your logic, we're not African, we're Native American. So why was Chadwick Boseman playing an African, okay, when he's supposed to be Native American?
Well, Pharaoh, if I can interject, per there's a Wakanda in Wisconsin, so Chadwick Boseman had every right to play Black Panther because there's a Wakanda in Wisconsin. But go ahead.
Oh yeah. I definitely agree. But but I'm coming at the FBAs. My point is, why are they mad? Okay, why are they mad that an African character was chosen to play Black Panther? Okay, when they should have been mad that Chadwick Boseman was chosen to play Black Panther, because according to them, Chadwick Boseman is Native American. He's not African. So yeah, so I mean, so that makes no sense. I agree that Chadwick Boseman is African.
All right, Pharaoh, let's get on topic. Go ahead.
Yeah. And this thing about immigrants being a buffer. I mean, yeah, these FBAs, they're making us look very bad. Okay. When you prove something, you're supposed to prove it with documents. Okay. Police pull you over and ask you for your ID. And ask you to prove your identity. He's gonna ask you to show your ID, and your ID is gonna have your name on it. You're not gonna be to sit up there and make up something and make up your name. And if you do that, he's gonna take you to jail and try to find out who you really are. So yeah, this FBA thing is making us look bad, because how did we go from John Henry Clark, okay, to Chadwick Boseman? Okay, Chadwick Boseman is African American. He's not African. So Yosef and Yakanan, and the world looking up to us, saying that Black Americans are stepping up. We're taking back our history. We're taking back our African history. And we were supposed to have growth from there, but all of a sudden, here comes Dane Calloway and all this
Great
fake
Rashid.
Native American movement. I mean, yeah, we are looking bad. This FBA movement have set us back, and it's making us look bad, and we should be aiming for number one. Okay, but we should be aiming for the top, but Black people just got so much nonsense in this identity crisis going on. We trying to, and we doing all this hating and trying to get along with other races, and we're doing all these things, but we're still on the bottom. Okay, we need to work on getting on top first. Okay, that's but I mean, but if you want to claim FBA and be Native American, I mean, you might as well denounce your Black grandparents and go to some Native American family and say, I want you to be my grandparents. I mean, it makes no sense. I mean, because how is this stuff real? I mean, just how can you just make up something and it be real? That I'm the type that stick to reality. Okay, and if you're going to cross the ocean, you're not going to be able to cross the ocean without a boat or a plane. You're not going to be able to walk across the ocean. That's not reality. And just as you can't do that, you just can't make up an identity. Yeah. So that, I mean, this is this thing had really set us back. When it comes to immigrants, I feel that I see nothing wrong with coming from another country and wanting a better life. Okay, but when those immigrants come with racism and anti-blackness, then I have a problem with that. When they come with the hate and thinking they better than somebody, then they should go back where they come from. But I mean, but that's really not my thing. I mean, my thing is how Black Americans are making us look bad with these different identities. I mean, and on top of that, you got the attitude going on with Black Americans. Black Americans, are always mean mugging and want to fight each other. I mean, it's a mess. It is a mess. And me as a real historian who follows someone like John Henry Clark and the great historians of the past, I get disrespected for that. Okay, I get disrespected in favor of a fraud and a scammer like Dane Calloway or Top Cats. Okay, and black people, especially young Black people, man, we need to get it together. I mean, because all this scattered identities and all this bad disturbing behavior, it's going to get us. It's not going to get us anywhere. It's going to get us. Things are going to get worse. We're going to get down, and whether you like it or not, it's the ancestors are in control of this, and you guys have been disrespecting the ancestors for a long time. You were disrespecting the ancestors, trying to adopt and make up your own false ancestors, okay, and disrespecting your real ancestors. And
Are you referring to CD disrespecting our ancestors?
CD, what he said about Africa.
What he said about us?
Yeah. What is that?
He called our Black women actresses hood rats, and he talked denigrating our people. Talking about it's the white man country and all of that. We lazy, stuff like that.
It
You don't
is a
think that's
white man's
denigrating?
country,
That's
but
not denigrating our ancestors.
the hood rat part and the jealousy and hatred, I think, is misguided talking points, and that should be he should be more conscientious about what comes out of his mouth, because he's a smart person, and you too, you're a smart person. Will you believe that I would classify all African Americans or FBA to be a
No.
group, right? No, I mean this
All
guy.
right, got, got,
That's
got,
all.
got. I got. Pharaoh, go ahead. You got 30 seconds, Pharaoh. I pass the mic to question to ponder.
Yeah. But I'm saying, but Black Americans, we need to come to we need to unify under one truth. We got to stop all this identity crisis. We got to stop the negative behavior because it's out of control. We have to claim real history. Okay, because I know a lot of FBAs they want to rebel against the anti-real history, and we have to we have to get it together, because we've been set back for a long time. Whites have been, they're owning
All
studios,
right,
they're
let me.
owning,
All right, let me
yeah,
pass the mic.
yeah,
Question to ponder. Go ahead. Question to
land my
ponder.
plane.
Thank you very much, Dinas. Thank you. So, responding to the topic at hand, FBA thinks Black immigrants are a buffer class, but are they? The answer is no. First, raw numbers: 50 million approximately to about 5 million. What is that, 10%? It's just not feasible right there for 10% of of the total group to somehow make an effect of about 55 million people. It's just not possible.
If they're in
What I,
leadership
what I,
positions, though.
what I do want to say is that when you're looking at what's occurring right now, so when you have Black immigrants leave, like what's happening to the Haitians, and mainly in Florida and New York, what's going to happen is that that real estate, whether it be residential or business, it's not going to go to FBA, Black America, Black folk. It's not. It's going to revert back to the Hispanic. Same thing in New York. Whatever is a loss for a Black immigrant is going to be a benefit to another group. It's not going to benefit FBA, Black America, not at all. When you're, like I said, having the loss of having that type of loss, real estate in business, you're then going to empower Hispanics who are then going to increase their voting block power in these states. California is the ultimate example. It has happened. We've seen it in real time. That's not going to occur in Florida. So, whatever that small Black population is in Florida, unless they move as a collective quickly and replace that void, which was the Haitians, it's going to be replaced by the Haitians. It's going to be replaced by the Hispanics immediately. Keep in mind, Asians themselves, they don't have a footprint in Florida. Florida really is these Hispanics, and that's what's going to occur when you're then looking into New York. When you have that loss of just Black immigrants, what's occurring right now, also in Chicago, who's going to replace? It's going to then be Hispanics. And then also returning to my link in the back chat, you're now seeing uh, historically non-Hispanic territories in the United States. Remember, Georgia is one of the original 13 colonies. It's Black and white. There is no Spanish speaking history in that state. It has always been Black and white. But we've already seen what's occurred in New York. We have already seen what's occurred in Illinois, where you're now at about over 10% Hispanics. And now Georgia is over 10% Hispanics. Now that should be viewed as a critical mass. So when you have like another Black immigrant group who are very, very small population, when they leave or are when they are displaced, who's going to fill that void? Because as we all know, uh, no void just simply does not exist. Something has to fill the void. It's then going to be the Hispanic population. However, whenever the Hispanics have a loss, the Asians will come in. And the Asians are past like these shops and restaurants. Like the boycotting was irrelevant because, like I've said, the Asians right now have city blocks, whole city blocks with just their businesses. And it's been that way for a while now. Also, when it comes to FBA Black America, it would have been better during Reconstruction, as there was the Freedmen's Bureau. The Freedmen's Bureau went defunct, I believe, in 1874. If the freedmen had their own agency, like the BIA, there's the Bureau of Indian Affairs. That is an agency that is under the Department of Interior. The Department of Interior is a cabinet level position that's executive. So if you had something like the Freedmen's Bureau Agency, which also would have been under the Department of Interior, like the BIA, we would be having a very different conversation right now. And
Right. They dismantled it.
I think that's what the loss is right there. That right after, during that period of Reconstruction, when everything is looking to coalesce and everybody's looking to settle and looking at the identity and the economics and also the relationship with government, there should have been an agency started literally called the Freedmen's Bureau. Then we would all know who is who.
There's
And
been a whole lot of
also
opportunities
keep
where it
in mind,
could
also
have
keep
been.
in last point, keep in mind the number of government jobs. One thing, let's be very clear, Black America, however you identify yourself, because at the end of the day, you're Black folk. So Black folk, you had a lot of Black people who were working in government, especially a lot of Black women who were working specifically in government. We have seen major slashes to government, especially during this administration. We all know that. Like, Trump had Elon audit the federal government. A lot of Black women lost their jobs, may or were forced to retire. Like the older Gen X and definitely the boomers. There, if you were in government and you're Gen X or a boomer, you've basically been forced retired. You're done. Who's going to replace those jobs are not going to be other Black people. It's going to be mainly the Indians,
AI.
mainly the Asians, and of
Yeah.
course also AI. There's going to be quite a bit of automation. But there is
So
such a change
yeah,
right
you said
now
last point though.
is
You said
that
last point.
there's such a
You can
change
make
right
your
now
last
is
point.
that this buffer class is just non-existent. First off, they're just not, it's not enough people. There isn't enough
Yeah,
Black
another point.
immigrants.
Yet
And
another point.
secondly, you have another immigrant group who
Another
is
point.
coming to replace the void that was once Black America, economically, real estate, and also those jobs in government.
I think she's a AI
So
bot though.
no, she's not AI, but let me say this though. There's a void to fill. I get that. But buffer class, yes. If you have 5 million people, and out of those 5 million, you have a professional class that would be more politically bound. And if they're in positions of leadership positions and they're running for office, what's this Brian McDonald? What's this guy's name? That is a white ringer MAGA guy from one of the islands. I'm not saying that is a really big thing of there's a lot of Brian McDonald's, but I'm saying that yes, you could, if they're in leadership positions, could be a buffer class. But yeah, and buffer class means I had to look it up because it's like, what exactly is buffer class, right? It's a middleman, right? It's a middleman that between the ruling elite and the people in the lower poverty areas that is going to be between them, right? So we have a buffer class that is not immigrants per se. We've had a buffer class of Black intellectuals that have sold us up the damn river and done it through Democrats mostly, the Democratic Party. So yeah, there's potentially could be theoretically, yes, there could be, but I think the void to be filled, right? It's not going to just fill in with as the Haitians leave. We have probably New York has the largest outside of Miami has the largest Haitian, maybe even larger in New York than even in Miami. If we could lose a lot of them, it's just not going to be replaced by Hispanics. It's not going to just be replaced automatically by Hispanics because the Hispanic population is not going to grow that fast if we lose a large amount of those of that population of Africans. So I would say that's not something to worry about. I think we worry about the wrong thing. We put too much emphasis on the wrong things, like we're worried about people coming and taking our benefits and reparations that we don't even have and that we probably won't even get. We worry about immigrants, and instead, we're not organizing and we're not doing the things that we need to be controlling our education. We need to be coming together, doing group economics. We need to be working locally and regionally. We're not even having those conversations. I mean, you don't have to even be doing it. You don't have to be qualified to do it because people many times say, Shaw, you say the same thing over and over again. You're not even qualified to do it. Why are you talking about putting money in a fund and we got $1 billion in a fund? What are you doing about it, Shaw? What are you doing? So I'm saying that many of us are not going to do anything about it. We're going to sit in here and talk about it, but we're not even talking about it.
We're not talking about organizing and how we can work together with Africa and CARICOM and Brazil and Colombia is even not even in the picture. We're not even having those conversations about South America, about Guyana, and about black folks. We got a black community in Ecuador. Those are not even on our thing. So allying, having allies is important because we realize that, as John Henry Clark says, Pan Africanism or perish. Africa is in the process of being recolonized on some level, per se. Yes, it is. We're not having those conversations. We're talking about immigrants. And the best use of our power in this country is to really come together and focus our energies to build our communities. I'll land there.
Can I say something?
That's a lot of platitude, but go on.
Question upon it. Can I speak real quick?
Oh, I'm on mute. Thank you.
It was somebody by the name Babalico. He said something earlier that I think was profound. He said, Black Americans are no longer just building houses in Africa. They're building like complexes, right? And that made me think, the Nation of Islam, Elijah Muhammad used to be the leader. He has a book called Message to the Black Man. In his book, he has similar to the 10-point program, what the Muslims want. And one of the things he was several states set aside for Black America. And then a 10-point program for the Black Panther came out of that. And also I want to mention that Stan Lee got inspiration from the Civil Rights Movement. Also, Huey P. Newton, Bobby Seale, Black Panther Party. That's where the Black Panther comic actually came from. It wasn't really inspired by Africa. It was basically the Civil Rights Movement. But I think people talking about, I want free land in Africa. What I'm saying is, if America don't want to divvy out several states for us to be able to self-actualize and to become our best self, why can't Africa, why would they have the same resistance towards allocating land for our people, not even just Black Americans, but the so-called diaspora also? Why not allocate several states or several...
Liberia is still there.
But you know what happened,
But it's still there. Go to Liberia.
I'm saying that's something that we actually negotiated with the American Colonial Society and the European powers to get that. It wasn't like African sovereigns gave that. I'm talking about now we have a situation in which we still suffer from white supremacy. They talking about everybody, the South Americans, Latinos, the buffer classes are coming to our neighborhoods. Like the lady question upon us say they're in Southeast Georgia. So it's a pattern of them coming to us, getting close to us to reap benefits, but we're not able to just become our best self because of the oppression, lack of resources, and everybody just eating at us like parasites.
Yeah. In 2026, who's oppressing you?
What I'm saying is we're not able, like what Shaw was trying to explain to Man's Sake and the other guy, Elvis, that when we go out there with the same credentials to get a business loan, the Black American usually don't get it. So just like in calculus, you can have a limit, even though a function can say f of x equals this, but when it gets to Black people, it equals 0. Basically, you could override a function, So even though the law is mentioned a certain way, bank managers or whoever has discretion to still say no, even though you got a 840 credit score and millions of dollars in collateral, they can still say no. So I'm just saying, if we had without being around white people and all of these people from all over the world coming to our neighborhoods, parasiting and just oppressing, why not get some sovereign land or just something set aside in Africa so we could become our best self? Because the world really hasn't seen our 100%. If the world was to see our 100%, and even not even 100%, even at our lowest state, we're still making profound impacts in the world. So that's all I'm advocating for. It's not like I just want free land in Africa. You really never hear me speak negative about Africa. It's not similar to how they talk about us, like calling people baby mamas and hood rats and all of this and praising the colonizers, talking about Bill Clinton. Like, why would I praise like Cecil Rhodes or Leopold? You see what I'm saying? Why would you praise these white devil oppressors in our face? Like, how do you think that's gonna? And then you talk about we shouldn't pay homage to each other, to Black Americans. Like, that's in our culture. We always pay homage to even the people that's still alive, we just pay homage to each other and pay homage to the ones that sacrificed and let us get to where we pay homage to God. So why would they think they could come to America and have access to our resources or our economy and not pay any type of homage?
Is it your economy? Is it your resources? Your 50 million people, is it your resources and your economy?
Listen, we just had the whole discussion. I'm listening to Question Upon Her. She's brilliant. She was mentioning the Freedmen's Bureau and all of the things that happened afterwards. But do you know we had to fight a war to get that? We was actually free. We were slaves. We had zero land. So the fact that you could talk about losing land, we were at a positive, even though we losing, like CD talking about, we losing brownstones in New York. There was a point we couldn't even have anything. Like we had no agency. We didn't even control our own bodies. So
then
we was
how
able
could
to
it be
get to
your
that
land
point. That
and
shows
your
how
economy?
profound we are. You say what?
If you lost the Freedmen or agency and you didn't in Special Order 15, whatever, to get to fit 40 acres and a mule was
Listen,
rescinded
man.
when Lincoln died. How is
It
this
was
your country?
listen. When Lincoln got assassinated, Andrew Johnson rescinded it and he
Yeah.
pardoned
So
all the
then how is
Confederates.
this your
The
country?
Freedmen's Bureau still got established, but it no longer was necessary when we became citizens with the
They
14th
got rid of
Amendment.
it. Yes.
Because we got the 14th Amendment. Plus they robbed the bank. They robbed the central
Okay.
bank of
So
all of the money.
then if that's the case, how is it your
So
country?
but regardless of that, the fact that we was able to get that from being slaves, it's like profound.
They gave it to you.
We fought for that.
They
What you talking
gave it.
about? Anybody
Okay.
give
They
us
fought.
anything?
Hold on,
We
let Miss Sister, go ahead, Miss Sisters.
Yeah, I just wanted to give an update about the Freedmen's Bank that Question to Ponder brought up. I don't know if she is aware that yes, the Freedmen's Bank, it was deactivated, but under the Biden administration, U.S. Secretary Janet Yellen and Vice President, who is a white Jewish female, and Vice President Kamala Harris, the two of them reactivated the Freedmen's Bank. And it was no longer a bank for Black Americans, but they allowed banking activity, allowed all minority groups to have access to funds to the Freedmen's Bank. And there was a huge upcry in the Black community with VP Harris doing that. So I just wanted to make that update, and that was something that if Kamala Harris was aware of the history, she would have pushed back on Janet Yellen, including all minority groups into the Freedmen Bank. That would
Yeah,
have.
but Miss Sisters, they're not allowed to. Like, we're in this group called
That is true.
minorities. They can't do anything specifically for Black people. They
Maybe
can't.
something could. I don't know the law, but I'm just telling you what happened. Now regarding Question to Ponder, you made a few points, and about Hispanics. And right now, all I can say is I don't know what the political clout or will be for Hispanics and what they will be able to do because of the many laws that the Trump administration is passing. I don't know if you all are aware of this, but the Trump administration passed a debanking law, which means that illegal immigrants, they cannot access certain government funded programs and financing. Also, a huge issue that's been unexplored. We've talked about the minority majority districts and its impact on Black Americans. But when the Supreme Court eliminated majority minority districts, that included Hispanics as well. And so Florida, California, New York, Illinois, New Jersey, Arizona, all of these states with large Hispanic populations, their district lines are going to be withdrawn. And I don't know, what the outcome will be. And if Hispanics, they might run for those seats. And I don't know if they are going to be successful in keeping them. So there's a lot going on the ground. And then we have deportation. Are you all aware that the Trump administration announced that they deported 10,000 people in 3 days? I mean, and he is being very strategic where he is going to deport people. And question to ponder, these are mostly Hispanics. And he is going after those communities or those areas that will affect the Electoral College. So something is going to happen. I don't have a crystal ball. I don't know what, but over the next 10 years, we are going to see Hispanics. They are going to lose their political clout. I don't know what it will look like, but it's going to be. But they're going to have to do politics very different because they are being debanked. Laws are being passed where they have to show proof of citizenship. We still have that fight on the horizon of who gets counted. Many of the states, such as California, Illinois, and New York, non-citizens are included for apportionment for elected representation. If the Trump administration successfully writes a court, if they successfully write a lawsuit and it passes the Supreme Court, that the question on the U.S. citizen, U.S. Census that asks, "Are you a citizen?" If that is permissible by law, then we're going to see a lot of those states where Hispanics are concentrated. We're going to see the demographic we're going to see a change in terms of their representation and their political clout. So there's just too much on the ground going on to say that Hispanics are going to take over from Blacks. We just don't know. The Trump administration, they are doing a lot of damage, a lot of damage to the Hispanic community. And the last thing, question to ponder, that I just wanted to add is this. The Hispanics, they are not a monolith. Mexicans, Cubans, Venezuelans, Colombians, Hondurans, people from Guadalupe, all of these groups have very difficult political agendas. And we saw in the 2024 election, the Cubans, they tend to be more conservative Republican, and they voted for Trump. The Mexicans in California, they tend to vote more Democratic. So after this deportation stage, how will Hispanics vote? Will they all swing toward the Democrats? I don't know, but it's going to be really interesting to find out. So, so all I can say is that I don't know if there's going to be a Hispanic takeover of Black communities because many of them may be forced to self-deport, or they may be deported, or they might lose their legal status. There's just a lot going on with them, and I'll land there.
Okay, great. To go ahead and respond, which actually touches on many comments in the chat. They have their children, whom we know now are United States citizens. So that's number one. And those who are not US citizens, they still have social security numbers so they can work and pass their E-Verify, so they can get whole jobs. With that being said, what many of you are missing is something very important, which is the word enterprise. Hispanics enterprise, Asians enterprise, White people enterprise. Black people, not really. No. And even to those, even to those Black Americans and Africans separately enterprising, is still at a very, very, very small level as compared to the other groups. I bring this up because not only with enterprise, you're now able to work, you're engaging in business as one collective. So being legal or being illegal is completely irrelevant because you're all working in synergy to make money, which the Hispanics do. And a lot of that money is under the table. Now, with many of them now becoming legal, even if you're not a United States citizen, they still have socials. And I'm speaking specifically about DACA. They are then able to continue to work and obtain these business licenses that are necessary for them to really optimize the businesses, the enterprising engagement that they want to do. I say this because when it comes from a political voice, they can always come together and form a PAC. And a PAC, remember, it's one entity, it's a corporation, it's legal, and a PAC has personhood. And a PAC can lobby. So you don't even need to be a US citizen. That's completely irrelevant because the political power, the political force of Hispanics is there and has been there. So they can, number one, enterprise, and legal status is irrelevant. They work underneath the table and they hire their friends and family and they don't use E-Verify. These construction sites, do you really believe they're going through E-Verify? No, they're not. And even to this day, they're not. They're still able to work and earn income and make money. And number two, they are able to come together as one political fist through these PACs. So all the Hispanics can come together, put in money into a PAC, whether you're legal or illegal, and use that PAC to lobby. And that lobby has a voice, and that voice goes to government. So when I
Can
say
we
they're
create a
taking
super PAC?
over, when I say they're taking over, it's more than just, I think you're speaking more so as an individual. I'm not. I'm speaking as a collective, as one unit, which is what they do. And like I said, they do so through enterprise and they do so through these PACs via lobbying. They go ahead, start a PAC, they're able to lobby through the PAC. And
Right.
the PAC,
So
like we know, is
we can create a super
person.
PAC as well, right?
So when you're talking about like just going back to Haiti, they're going to take this land. Look at what happened in 1992. In 1992 with Hurricane Andrew, though Florida was majority white. When the white people cashed out, they took their insurance money and left Florida. Those Cubans came in with the quickness and got that land. And how were the Cubans able to really get this land? They already had amnesty. So you now have a group, the Cubans, who are now legalized through Reagan's amnesty, both amnesty 1 and amnesty 2. They came in and bought up Florida, and they were using the cocaine money as well. And now we have the Florida, which we all know, understand through Cuba, through all those Cubans. And that was starting really in 1992 after that huge calamity, Hurricane Andrew.
Right.
And have the Hispanics let go of Florida? Absolutely not. Not even the Asians can get into Florida. And
So
now
can we
with the
create a
Haitians,
super PAC?
and now with the Haitians gone,
Can
Marco
African
Rubio,
Americans and Black immigrants create a
and
super PAC?
look at Marco
I'm asking you a
Rubio.
question. I'm asking you a
Marco
question.
Rubio is an actual product of
Can I
that
ask you a question?
Marco Rubio is an actual result of the Cubans in
Right.
Florida. You have
Right.
someone who's Gen X and he ran for office, and now Marco Rubio is the right hand of Trump. He is the fastest moving Hispanic in like US history, what that man has been able to do. And he took over a country, Venezuela. He's the one who has way more power than JD Vance. It's Marco Rubio.
So those are
So
many different points you're making, right? You're going into points after points after points. So my question is, you got on a super PAC, and I think that was really in there, a meat of your of your point. And super PAC requires a lot of resources, I understand.
She
And we
mentioned a
could
pack. She did not mention a super pack.
no, I'm mentioning a super PAC, and I'm saying that we could create our own super PAC, and it does require resources to create a super PAC, but we could do that. We're 50 million strong. We could create our own super PAC in any party. It could be the Democrat. It could be independent. What's stopping us from doing that? Crickets. Nothing's stopping us from doing that. And that's what I'm saying. We have agency, and we don't use our agency because we're pontificating about all the things that are happening, could happen. But where are we projecting the future of how we're in control? how we're taking over, what we're doing. Where's our insight, our future look of possibility in that direction? It's like we're stunted in that way. We're just talking about the problem and what other motherfuckers is doing. That's what we're doing.
Shaw, can I answer your question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just laughing, as I was listening to you. Shaw, you are a Black male. You're Black American, Shaw.
You know I am. I just
Yes.
finished talking about being African American for a whole
Okay,
20 minutes.
I just want to confirm. At this time, would you say that Black Americans were fully aligned with the Democratic Party where they could win the election, the midterm election, or is it up in the air?
Say that again.
Okay, I'll rephrase it. Is the Democratic establishment concerned about Black America and their voting participation?
No, not necessarily. No,
Oh, why do you say that?
because the conditions in my Black communities all over this country has not gotten better.
Okay, they haven't gotten better. So
They've gotten worse.
okay, so if you agree, and most people agree that it's getting worse, why is it? What explained Kamala Harris' loss?
I don't know, and I don't care about Kamala Harris or the Democratic Party, because I think that if we do what we're supposed to do, then we will have a pathway for national directives, policies to trickle down into the projects and things that we're doing, and we can influence that as 50 million and 14% of the
And Ms. Maya,
population.
I think that's a better question for Question to Ponder to answer.
Yeah, she might answer that, but I'm saying that the point is that if we're doing what we're supposed to
You
do,
just didn't.
then we
You just
can.
refused to answer. You said you don't care.
No, I'm saying I'm not refusing. I'm saying the point I'm making is that none of that is important because we are not doing what we're
She
supposed to
asked why
do.
did Kamala Harris lose. You just refused to answer the question.
No, I mean I don't even know why. I don't care about her, why
You don't
Kamala Harris
care,
did.
so
I
maybe
don't
she can
know
answer.
why. I
He
don't
just asked
care
that to
why.
the other lady that likes
Because
to give detailed
right, because the point
responses.
is, and I'm
Let me
making a point now.
answer
I
this
am making a
question.
point though, and the point is that we need to do what we need to do locally, regionally, and nationally. And part of that is put our money together, just like the Jews do. AIPAC puts their money together. We're not even doing that. We're
Okay,
not
but
even doing the basics.
Shaw, who do we put our money together to support what or to support whom?
Good question. That is part of the power of the question. Like, who do we do? How do we do? Right? What we do is we say, Shah,
You
and
don't have
whatever
the
your name is,
answers,
sister.
man.
No, whatever your name is, sister. We're going to start a fund called the African American,
You just brainstorming. You
Black
just like
American
freestyling right
FBA
now.
fund, right? We're going to create a fund. I'm just saying, I'm putting it out there. We're going to create a fund, and we're putting $10 a month in the fund, and all of us are going to do it. We're trying to make it a requirement for all 50 million of us. By the end of the year, we've got $1 billion something dollars. Now we got money to do something with. Now we can fund a super PAC. We can build grocery stores in all our food deserts. We can do all of that in a year. That's an idea that is valid. I mean, that is something that's doable. This
Okay.
is yeah.
Okay, Shaw, this is where I was hoping you would go. For the 2024 election, the Democratic Party, they got a punch in the nose by Black males. 22% of Black males bolted the Democratic Party and they went Republican. And and 9% of Black females voted Republican. The Democratic Party needs close to 87 and sometimes 90% of the Black vote to win the Electoral College. Black people, they're doing two things. They're more are voting Republican and more are just simply They are not voting. They are sitting on the couch.
Okay, what's the goal?
And so
What is the goal? Why are we voting Republican or Democrat? What are we doing?
I you know what? That's what I'm it you know what? We're in our 60s. We're getting older. This is the young generation's fight. I'm curious to see what millennials and young Gen X are gonna do.
Well, what's your message?
I'll tell you why I voted for Trump. If you want to hear.
Yes, go ahead. Please share.
The reason I voted for Trump was he promised that he was going to get rid of all of these Venezuelans that was running amok, getting all this free money, all this free housing in Chicago. They was talking about keeping the border open, bringing in 20 more million. That's why I say if Kamala Harris win, that's 20 more million Venezuelans. We're going to be done. That's like they're going to have the same population or a bigger population than us. So I voted solely to prevent that.
So does that make the quality of our community
and it was
better?
successful.
The life of our community
I
better?
feel like I made a difference.
Okay, but we've got to
I made
see.
a
We've
really
got to see the outcomes,
big
though.
difference.
We've got to
If
see the
Kamala
outcome,
Harris
though.
would have stayed, if she would have won, we would have had about
You
30,
can
40
say you're
million,
making a
40,
difference,
50
but
more
the
million
outcomes
illegal
is going to
aliens
be
up
the
in here.
quality. The outcomes will be the quality of the lives of our people in our communities. That's the outcomes.
Our lives was a hell under these illegal. They was out here going to
Okay,
war
so
with the
we'll see in
local
a year or
gangs.
two. We'll see in a year, 2 or 3, because it'll take a couple of years for some progress for us because of the immigrants been
The
kicked the fuck
border
out.
is shut down. There's nobody getting through. So
Okay,
it's a
so that
progress
should make things
already.
better for us because that's why you
It's
voted for
better.
him.
It's better for us.
Okay, well, it has to
When Trump
show. It has to show,
first
though.
won, they was raiding all of these factories in Illinois and the
Okay,
Chicago area, and a whole bunch of black people start getting these jobs
you saying that is better doesn't
in his
mean that it's
first
better.
term.
You
So
saying that it's better
it was
doesn't mean it's
progress
better.
economically for the black male who couldn't find a job because all these illegal aliens got all the factory jobs and
So
all the
then
businesses.
that means that our
We need
employment rate will go up. That
our
means that
enemies.
our
My
income
enemy's
rates will go
enemy is
up.
my friends.
Less of us will be in
In
poverty.
the art of war, my
Right.
enemy's enemy is my ally.
Okay,
So
I'm just saying.
we had a mutual interest against these illegal aliens taking up all of this money.
So the
And then they was
unemployment
taking
rate
all our
should be
communities
better,
too.
or getting better, and then the poverty level should be dropping because
It
of
has
what.
improved drastically.
I don't know. I haven't seen the numbers on that.
I could look at it visually and the numbers say
The
so.
numbers that I'm hearing is that the unemployment is getting worse for us and everybody, not only blacks, for everybody. And a part of that has to do with AI jobs that are slowly taking over.
It's
And
so better because so many of these illegals done lost these houses they didn't somehow acquire. Now black people are purchasing up the neighborhood back. They're getting Inglewood and the black community in Chicago back because these illegals getting up out of here. So we're able to get our neighbor like the house I grew up in. Some illegals living there. You see what I'm saying? Or some I don't know if they illegal or not, but we need to get that back.
our homeless rate should be going
Because
down
what they
because we're the
do is
largest
they
homeless
wait for
population.
economic plight in the black community so they could come in and get the properties. But there's certain neighborhoods like South Holland, there's like zero vacancies, all black affluent neighborhood. I ain't gonna say it's affluent, it's like upper middle class, but the Mexicans can't really wedge in that neighborhood. But the neighborhood right next to it, like Harvey, Illinois, is like suffering so they can get all those vacant properties. So when we do bad, they can't really get close.
But
So
you're still going to have to do
it's like
more
what
than just vote for
President
Trump,
Ponda
though.
was saying, it's like a systematic approach. And also what Maya was saying with the government policies, giving the money towards them, helping them to retrieve our property so they make it bad for us. We lose our property, lose these government jobs. Now the illegals come in under the overplay for the underlay, come and get those properties. Once all these black women lost their jobs under Elon Musk, his Doge, when they lose their property, who you think gonna benefit from that? Like
So
they were saying,
you got to do
the
more than
illegals, the
vote for Trump.
Mexicans.
So you're going to have to do more than vote for Trump to make your situation better as a people.
But
right?
It was sufficient enough to make a good enough impact.
And that's all you need to do?
It slowed down. Not all you need to do, but it was
Okay,
a
but then
good
that's what we're talking
strategy
about. The other
to slow
parts of what
down
we
the
need to do.
invasion Because the Mexicans illegals, they coming solely for the black people.
I don't think it made a mark. It
Like, this is
didn't.
an excellent show.
It was an incremental, if anything, because we still don't know what the numbers are, because those numbers should be
I
coming
mean,
out
in
in a
real
year or
time,
two.
I'm on the ground, I can
I
see the
don't even
numbers.
think
I can see it.
it's relevant. Yeah, I think you need to wait a year or
I'm
two.
talking about when Trump got in and South Shore, they took over this big building. It was all over the news worldwide. ICE raided that building, got all them Venezuelans up out of there. Now the
That doesn't
neighborhood
mean
less
that
and
we
less.
have more jobs and less homeless black people.
I
It doesn't
mean,
mean that.
we have less of them in our neighborhood.
I'm saying that does that make
But
it
housing
that
is
we have
scarce.
less black people that are homeless?
Housing is scarce. So we're
Okay,
competing
so
with
then what does that
Venezuelans
make
for
it the
housing in
homelessness
our
go
own
down for
neighborhood.
black people?
What you
See,
talking about?
you're talking about something, but then you're not making a connection to me with how that makes our condition better. You're
It
not
makes it
making
better
that
by getting them up,
connection.
like when we're competing for housing and it's a limited supply, and then they somehow get the housing, then we're gonna have to go build another house or find another neighborhood. See what I'm saying? Because it's
No,
only so many.
because my community was taken over by Mexicans.
So
My
you're gonna have to
community
figure out
was
how you gonna get the
80%.
how you gonna get it back.
My community was 80% African American, and now it's about 12%, if that.
Now what you
So
have to do is you got to find a
listen though.
politician.
In the process of that, there was a time period when a lot of the elders were moving back to
No, you're
the
gonna have to
South.
find a politician who has the same vision to get them about California.
It's okay, but it's
If you
going
get
to
that,
take
if you
more
get
than
that
that.
governor,
You're
get
not
those
going to get rid of
local
them.
politicians,
You're
you
not
can
going to
make
get rid of the
policies.
Mexicans through a
But what all they gotta
politician,
do is just get rid of the sanctuary status.
sir.
And once they do that,
The
then they
Mexicans
got
in
to
my
go.
community are second generation and third generation.
California is a sanctuary state. Plus, they provide them with so many billions of dollars
Right.
in
So
government resources.
they've been
So
two generations and three
you
generations.
need a
You're not
governor.
getting rid of them.
You need mayors to get rid of that sanctuary protection. Once you do that, then you can legally get them up out to California. Then
They're entrenched.
once you get them about out the way, then the property values are going to drop. Then the black people come in and get the properties at $1, like a pennies on a dollar, foreclosures, tax sales, stuff like that. Because once you get that huge
Not
void
my
of vacancies,
community.
when they get up out, when they get up out of there, then the black people could purchase California back. But you need
Well, not in my
politicians
community. It's a rare situation. I would say
because
probably in
it's
most
a
communities, but
Democrat
maybe not even
stronghold.
that in California. Because in my community, the house my mama bought the house for $30,000 in 1962. The house now, we added 3 bedrooms to the house. The house now with let's see, in 1998, 97, it was worth 282, and then 3 or 4 years later, it was worth 600,000. Now it's worth about 2 million.
So y'all still own the house.
No, we sold it when it was worth 282,000.
So
If
therefore,
we had waited 3 years, we could have sold it for
but I'm
600,000.
talking about the whole California can flip if y'all get the right politicians that had the right policy, the right vision. Y'all could get all the Mexicans up out of there. Because the only reason they're there because of the sanctuary policies and all the government programs is helping them. Once you dry those programs up and get rid of the sanctuary policies, they'll just walk. They'll leave on their own.
Well, the ones that are subject, have a certain status, but the ones that have been there for 2 and 3 generations, they ain't
No,
going
no,
nowhere.
it don't matter. They gonna go where it's easy. People, if they fled Mexico, they'll flee back. Like a fleer
Well,
is not
why
gonna,
would you leave if
is not
if
gonna
you own
struggle.
a house and you're a citizen? Why would you leave? And you
Look,
got a business.
a fleer, the philosophy of a person that they fled adversity. If they was going to deal with adversity in
But what's the
America, they could
adversity
deal with
though?
adversity
The
in
adversity is
Mexico.
not for them. The adversity is for the ones who just getting
No,
there. Or just,
they're
or,
here. They're here because it was easy. They had programs and money to give them.
I get that,
Once you
but
cut that out, then they're going to leave voluntarily
those
because
are
they're
the
not going to
ones
try to
who are
struggle.
just kind of getting here. They getting a foot their foot down, getting a footing. The ones that have been here for 2 and 3 generations, they got businesses. They got kids with degrees and kids that are, these are different. California is a different thing
No,
than
they're
other
going to
parts of
go.
the country.
If there's no free money for them, no free. If black people stop supporting their businesses, stop letting them cut their grass, and stop buying tacos, and if they cut off
They
all that free government housing, that free government money, that DACA, they're going to go right back to Mexico. They ain't finna stay here because if they was going to stay in for some adversity, they wouldn't have fled in the first place.
and some of those immigrants don't even qualify for social
All of them
services
qualify.
like EBT and that kind of stuff. They
You
don't
know, the
qualify
DACA, the
for.
lady said earlier about
But
DACA,
they
they
can
get all type
qualify
of
for
money.
loans though. They can qualify for loans to start their businesses, and just get here and qualify for loans
Right.
to
When all
start.
that you need the right governor, you need the right mayors. Get rid of Newsom. Get that Republican there. Get the people that want them gone in power. Then they're gonna go. They're gonna get rid of them. So
Yeah,
you gotta use your enemy's enemy to as your advantage, as your leverage.
well, what about your group economics though? Where are you putting your money together to start your
It don't
Black
matter
Wall
about
Street?
group economics. We don't have no property. We still struggle. We ain't even producing as a
No, no,
people.
no. Listen,
We're not
listen.
even
We got a
growing
room.
because
We got a room of 5, 10 people. Let's say we got a
listen,
room of 5 or 6 people in here. We all put $1,000 together.
listen. Well, listen, we're not even growing. As our population is not even growing. Like our marriage, black people ain't even
You're
marrying
making
no more.
excuses for not being
So,
responsible.
and we're
You're
not even
making
getting economic
excuses.
power. So
And,
first of all, we're gonna
I'm
have to
gonna
cut
tell
off.
you, as a
We're gonna
young
have to cut off
person,
the bleeding. We're gonna have to get rid of all these illegals and
sir,
all these immigrants, and then the money gonna
young
start
brother,
flowing
I'm gonna
towards
tell
us.
you. You think the Jews are worried about the immigrants? Why the Jews not worried about the immigrants?
Immigrants themselves,
Yeah, why they not worried about the other immigrants though?
because they immigrants.
No, that ain't why. They got status here. They're citizens and they got money. They got property. They got businesses.
Because they got
That
Israel, they get
that
30 billion a year.
immigrant don't work on them. Your immigrant conversation doesn't work on them. They're running shit in
Population
this
is so
country.
small.
So let me ask you this
They not even
question.
a factor.
You know what,
Oh,
gentlemen, can I ask a question here? Because I was just listening to you all talk, and I was listening to a podcast, and I haven't been able to find it, and I will look it up. But it's something about Black American males, and there is some new research that, and mind you, that Black American males under age 35, about 25% of them are never married with no children. Isn't that so? Have you all heard that? Have
That's
you heard?
absolutely true.
Okay,
okay.
where do I
What
find that?
You can
what
just
about it?
Google that. That's common knowledge. Like half of
Okay.
black men never is like, and they say half of black men ain't got no kids and they not married. So we
Yeah,
are on a decline
for
as a
your
people.
generation, you're delaying marriage and children. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. And what? How's that relevant? What's the
No,
point of that?
no, no. Because I just wanted to put that out there because sometimes I, hear people talk about you're making babies, you're being irresponsible, um, but there is research that says contrary to that. And as you all were talking, it just popped into my head. Go ahead and finish talking.
So the message to the young folks, I would say, is that what we could have did more of. We did try to deal with some parts of things. My area was education, but people like Claude Anderson was talking about group economics. 30 years ago.
At some time we gotta retire these old folks and come up with some new knowledge like Claude Anderson, Henry Clark. We keep mentioning them. We
Yeah,
gotta think forward and think about a new strategy.
yeah, but you still have to listen to them and
If
assess
they were
whether or
so
not.
great, how come that we got to this point?
But the point is you listen and you assess it. Is it relevant? Can it help you? Is it relevant? Can it help you now? If it can, you take parts of it or you take all of it. If it can't, you throw it out and you come up with something new or
I'm
you come
gonna
up
tell
with
you
something.
our new scholars. We got Black Alpha Network. We got Dan Calloway, Tariq Nasheed. We have like
Dane Calloway and Tariq Nasheed. Dane
updated
Calloway.
scholars.
Bro, did you say Day Calloway?
He said that.
Yeah,
He
he
said
got he
that.
Oh,
got good
okay.
knowledge too.
Oh no, you lost
On
me.
that note, but we do have to close out.
Yeah,
Everyone, thank
thank
you
you.
so
I
much
was
for
getting ready to
joining.
leave.
Like, share, subscribe. Let me read this last super chat. Pop A 55602, thank you for $5 holla. How can 5 million Africans be a buffer to 50 million Black Americans? They're not. That's the point. Most room 3368, thank you for $2 holla. By his temperament, M is a tribalist. He needs a pacifier right there. All right, everyone. Thanks so much for joining. Like, share, subscribe. Buy the documentary. Peace.
Peace.